All right, we are live on YouTube. We'll give everyone one more minute and then we will get going, I mean. You'll also see there's a live transcript or a closed caption option. You guys are welcome to turn that on or off. If you click on live transcript down at the bottom, you can click on hide subtitle. That will drive me crazy, but I believe I can hide it on my side without hiding it for all of you guys on your side as well.
So Max, are people watching this on the YouTube live instead of in the Zoom?
Students should always be in Zoom so they can participate and so I can see reaction and gauge how the class is doing and all of that stuff. However, if you're on the road and can't join class, seeing it on YouTube live may be an easier way to access the stream than getting in the Zoom room. And there may be other people down the road who would like to, watch class live, but aren't
Like my
part of it
husband.
as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if we'd made a switch in like how we were, and I thought, how am I going to interact with the different PC? And all right, thank you.
Yep,
Good.
definitely still encourage you to come in on Zoom, even on the PC, because YouTube will be on like a minute-ish delay. So when you ask questions, it may be hard to answer them. But we should be set up over there. And then Jesse and I are working on it. So all instructors in the future will be able to get that stream going over there as well. All right, so let's kick it off. What did we do yesterday?
We created a news website.
Perfect. And what did we use to create that site?
Bootstrap.
We used Bootstrap. Yep, we just used their Latonia said the columns and the grids and rows. Yep, all of that is good. What else did we do? Anything interesting or any fun fact that you learned yesterday, or anything that clicked for you yesterday that you were particularly proud of? No, I'm a horrible instructor. I should just cry myself to sleep.
You're seeing people's answers in the chat, right?
I am, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were ignoring you or something. Okay.
Yep, Latonia, a good thing to click for sure is the relationship between parents and the children and being able to instruct one or the other. Kyle threw out selecting multiple classes in CSS. That's definitely very powerful. It is amazing the difference a space or a little greater than sign or comma can do in your CSS. Carolyn threw out black and white and not using extremes, which is a good little design tip. And Latonia threw out structuring code for readability. Did you make it through, Latonia, on your code? You got it back up and running? Your breakthrough last night was good?
Yeah, and that structuring really helped. I saw how you broke down even just the one link from the Bootstrap link.
Yep.
And so now I'm just going to try to do that. I was doing spaces. Does that cause a problem? Because it just helps me to be like, okay, this is one block and then have a space and then.
Nope, not really a problem. It isn't going to impact the computer at all. And while you're working on your own code, it's fine to put spaces in between the sections. When you start working in a team, you may get feedback like, whoa, way too many spaces or not enough spaces, or but you kind of naturally start grouping code together and going, oh, this is a section of code, so this should stand apart from other code. And that will naturally kind of evolve over time. So you're probably going a little space too heavy right now. Not that I'm reviewing your code and giving you specific feedback, but That is okay to do earlier on in your coding, because later you will form that sense of this code should stand alone. Container fluid was a good thing to throw out there as well. Color gradients, yep, we talked about hex colors a little bit, and RGBA values. Kellen threw out the importance of borders to divide the page and kind of make things visually separate. So those are all good things. All right, I am going to open up the floor for any questions. Anything you saw in the news, anything from yesterday that you were like, I really do not get what he was talking about. Anything that you're looking forward to doing this weekend that you'd like to share with the class?
I thought somebody else was jumping in to talk. This is Latonia. I'm gonna try to do one of those 3 pages we were assigned before, because they went horribly wrong before. So if I can just get one of them, I think so that's my big thing for the weekend.
Yeah, and I believe starting on Monday, both Christy and Dana are going to start using those files. They'll have the pre-finished files for you. So if you fell a little bit behind on that assignment, you can kind of slingshot your way up to a good starting point. But we will be using those files more and more. So sometimes the homework assignments will be work on those files. Sometimes they'll kind of be standalone assignments. Like the news site completely standalone. So, as of Sunday, that assignment is done and in the books. And if you want to keep working on it and you feel like you're making good progress and you're learning through it, by all means, continue working on it. But an instructor is not going to come back in and be like, surprise, go pull up this file and start using it. So the main ongoing project that we'll be working on is that e-commerce site. And that's what we'll be teaching accessibility through and design through next week. And then Caitlin will come in the following week, and she's going to start teaching about Bootstrap components and how we can use pre-made components to put together a site pretty quickly. So all the magic that we got from Grid and not having to use Flex, that is like 1/10 of the magic Bootstrap brings to the party. And so Caitlin's going to start covering over all of those components. Then we are going to take a little break and go into JavaScript and start learning more computer science fundamentals. So away from websites, strictly speaking, and more into writing JavaScript code that is how everything works behind the scenes. We move into React from there. So then we swing back into the e-commerce site of making web pages interactive and having reusable code and talking about storing data. And then we move into the backend and the database, and we tie everything up together at the end with a couple security modules and stuff like that. So I'm hoping the curriculum, the reason why I'm reiterating the curriculum now is I'm hoping that it starts to feel a little bit more real. You start getting to the sense of like, oh, I can write some front end code, and oh, it would be good to know the little accessibility parts or the way we can write code faster using Bootstrap or all of those things. And then as soon as you think you're getting a good grasp on it, we swing you into the next module and get you going on another topic. Question about the GitHub Student Pack.
I had a few questions. I had already installed the GitHub Desktop after I had issues before,
Yep.
but I saw it was in the student pack. Should I redo that? And then the other one is they had Bootstrap Studio in there, and I didn't know if I should install that or just wait.
I don't use Bootstrap Studio. I don't think Caitlin is planning on covering Bootstrap Studio. However, feel free to experiment with any of the tools in there. There won't be any tools that we are requiring out of the GitHub Student Pack that I know. So that's more of an added bonus to you. One thing that I will say is that you can get a free domain name through Namecheap through that GitHub Student Pack. but it is limited to a .xyz domain extension. And so basically you can only get your domain name if it ends with .xyz through that promotion. So if you would like to use that tonight, you are more than welcome to. I would probably encourage you to buy your own .com, .net, .dev, kind of one of the more traditional or popular domain name extensions. But if you're like, I really don't want a domain name right now, I just want to get through class, just give me something that I can play around with. You definitely can sign up for that GitHub student pack and go through Namecheap through the student pack and get your domain that way. Your other question was, about GitHub Desktop. GitHub Desktop, I'm pretty sure is a free program anyway. I don't think there is a pro version of it. If there is a pro version of it, you may get that through the student pack. But I'm pretty sure it is just a free version. So I don't think you have to worry about upgrading or reinstalling that or anything like that. Yeah, and Carolyn, you bring up a good point. So about, I'll say 5-ish years ago, there was this like renaissance in the domain world, and they opened up it's called a GTLD, or generic top level domain. And so the reason why it's called a top level domain is because it's the end of your domain name. So these are the ones that you know, .com, .net, .gov, .edu, and they were pretty limited. About 5 years ago, and it had been in the works for long before that, but they basically said, we're going to open it up so companies can buy generic top level domains. And so Apple went out and paid more money than probably all of us have in our bank account combined, and bought the .apple domain name. And Google now owns .google. So you can go to domains.google and hit enter in your browser, and up pops Google domains. There are a bunch of them out there. Not all of them are company restrictive. So ones that came out of that were .dev and .app, and there are a lot of them out there. You were free to pick any of them tonight, with one warning that some generic top level domains cost a lot more than others. So you can expect to pay around $13-ish a year for a .com or a .net domain name. .devs, I think, get a little bit more expensive. .me is another option. All kinds of domain names out there. And so that is where we are going to kick off. Carolyn, you definitely can get a generic top level domain, but it is a very long and very expensive process. So what we will be using is generic top level domains that are available to us through Namecheap. Different registrars have different generic top level domains available through them. But almost all of them have a .com, .net, .me, .dev. The popular ones are kind of available at all of them. So I'm going to encourage everyone to use Namecheap tonight, but I am not making that a requirement. So if you already have a domain, sit tight through the first part of class. We will eventually get into the DNS settings, and we can talk about wiring that up. If you would like to transfer your domain from one of the big nasty registrars, Ionos or GoDaddy, hang around to the end of class, and I can give you a little spiel on how to do that, and help you screen share through transferring a domain. You're not limited to a .com. You can get a whatever is available to you if you can buy it tonight. And you are okay with either using a part of your student stipend on that, or buying it yourself, that is fine. Keep in mind that all domains have a renewal fee, a yearly renewal fee. And so it's not just the $12 or $13 you'll be spending tonight that will renew. And then if you don't renew the domain, you go to your website a year from now and it just says not available. General flow tonight. we are going to, Caitlin, if you can document this too, that would be great in chat. We're going to start buying a domain. Again, if you already have a domain, that's fine. Hold tight through this step. Once we get the domain, the reason why we're doing that first is it takes a little while for the domain to get set up and for us to be able to access it. From there, we are going to pull the most recent classroom repo, and we're going to copy some code that I have out of there into your own repository. We're going to create that repository. We're going to use Gitkraken to create it just so we're consistent. If you guys are already using a different Git tool, you're free to create it over there. But the repository has to be created over with GitHub. Once we get that created, we are going to set up Github Pages, which is a free website hosting company. And it has the added benefit of being integrated with Git. Once we get that set up, we're going to revisit back to Namecheap or whoever we purchased our domain through. They're called the registrar. And we are going to update our DNS settings, our domain name settings. And that is what is going to tell Namecheap, hey, I'm using GitHub over here. Once we get all of that set up, we're rocking and rolling. However, we have to wait for DNS propagation. So while we're waiting for DNS propagation, we're also going to get your email set up. So you can have contact at whatever domain name you purchased.com, and you will be able to send and receive emails from there. The benefit of that is that you're not going to have, I love cats at gmail.com be an email address that you'll put on your resume. And as a web developer, there are kind of two things that I look at when I'm hiring someone. One is, why would I hire you as a web developer if you don't have your own website? And the second is, why aren't you using your website domain name as your email address? That just looks a lot more professional to me. I have definitely hired people who use an @Gmail, and that's fine. It's not like you're instantly disqualified if you're not using your domain name. But it definitely is a professional touch as well. And then after that, I think I'm going to open it up for questions like I did last night. The good news is I will go a little bit slower on these steps. There will be some steps that are super easy, like buying the domain name. And there will be some steps that are super technical where you've got to get the copy and paste exactly right and know what to click on. So for the Namecheap process, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you guys a link in the chat. You could go to Namecheap directly, or you can go to a link I just posted in the chat. Again, if you have your domain already, you can skip this step. Thank you, Caitlin, for documenting all of that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to send you guys off to go buy your domains. The reason why I am not sharing my screen and walking you through this process step by step is, one, I'm not buying a domain tonight. I'm using one I already have. But two, more importantly, as developers, you will often be sent off by your boss to go figure something out. Your boss will just say, go buy a domain, and you will need to figure out how to do that. So I will be screen sharing tonight through the more technical aspects, but through the domain buying process, you guys should be able to figure all of that out, figure out how to create your account, figure out how to search for a domain, get it all purchased. The one thing I will say is that when you are checking out, if there is something that says who is guard, you will want to make sure that is on. And then it is up to you whether you want to leave auto renew on or off for next year. Oh no, my link is broken. Ignore that link. You're going to go right to Namecheap.com and start from there. Ignore the link with my domain. I must have broken something over on my website. So I will figure that out later. Nothing to apologize for, Alina. That is definitely broken on my side, not on yours. So I'm going to send everyone off to Namecheap now. I will open up the floor for questions, and then I'm going to create a poll where you can either say, I bought my domain, I'm good to go, or you can say, I already have a domain, or I'm going to assume that you guys are working on getting a domain.
Just a quick question. So you mentioned the .dev so that's more of a professional developer kind of website?
It's not really restricted. There are definitely some generic top-level domains that are restricted. So I can't go out and get like military.gov or anything .gov because .gov is limited to US government websites. The same goes for .edu. I can't buy Max's amazing teaching bootcamp .edu and just start using it. So there are some restricted top-level domains. .dev is not one of them. So if you would like, your first name, last name .dev, that is a completely fine option for tonight.
But it is for developers, like
it's encouraged for developers, but it isn't restricted to just developers. So it's not like they're going through and they're going to check on your website in a week and go, you're not a developer, and take their domain name back. So it is common to see developers using .dev, and it's also common for a lot of companies to have a .dev domain when they're working on their software before they're ready to release it to the public. They will use a .dev, but that is up to you whether or not you'd like that or not. And just keep in mind, it may be a couple dollars more. I don't know off the top of my head how much a .dev domain is.
I got my .dev through Google and it was like $12.
Okay.
It says 14 on here.
It wasn't.
Okay, so it's not much, more, but I was just wondering if it was more professional.
Not in
That's gonna be the
particular.
email. No, okay.
I have found, not to be ageist here, but there is a certain age cliff where people go, what do you mean .dev? Do you mean .dev.com? Or like, do you mean, and I go, no, just .dev. Like my URL, if I send it to someone, they're like, oh, that's cool, it's your name, right? Because it's .ws, which happens to be for Western Samoa, I think. But they don't restrict who can get those domain names, right? So that's why my URL is maxmatthehe.ws, because I couldn't get maxmatthews.com. With that said, when you try and explain that to some people, they're like, what do you mean .ws? What is that? So that is the downside of not getting a popular generic top level domain. With that said, the world is coming around to understanding that there is more than .com, .net, and .edu out there. Fabilia, a question.
Yes, I'm on the Namecheap website and I have my domain name in the cart, but it's giving me different options like web hosting for $8.88 a month, VPN, professional email.
You do not want anything except your domain name, and make sure WhoIsGuard is turned on. Do not get upsold on anything else. WhoIsGuard should be free. And so let me explain that. There is this notion of who is whenever you buy a domain name, and it is like a public phone book. So if you go to who.is on a browser tab or whois.com, or they all pretty much do the same thing, and type in any domain name and hit search, you get the person's name, email address, and physical address of where they bought the domain. So obviously for security reasons, that could be a little concerning that you don't want your home address out on the internet. So all the good registrars, Google Domains, Namecheap, they will provide you WhoIsGuard for free, where they put in kind of a gibberish address. And so your public address doesn't get out there. All of the crappier domain names or registrars like GoDaddy will gladly charge you a couple dollars a year extra for that service.
Okay, thank you.
Alina said she doesn't see.
Yeah, it shows up kind of right before you hit the proceed to checkout when you're in your cart.
So it says domain privacy. Is that the one that I want to enable? It
That's
doesn't
it.
say who is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just double checking.
No, that's good.
Are we gonna go through how to get the SSL certificate later through a separate website or something like that?
Yep, SSL we'll cover that with GitHub.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm sorry. But on the page, if I go to put it in the cart, other people have already asked this, I know, but I get the choices: web hosting, VPN, professional email, SSL, word hosting. I
Don't
can
want
just
any of
ignore
that.
those,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
I just go ahead and hit the cart again.
Yep.
Check out, I guess is what that symbol means.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Oh, checkout's done. I've got the chat window open. It was blocking the actual checkout button. All right, here we go. $9.06. Holy mackerel. Okay, where's
Max, Caitlin, I apologize for asking the same question again. You said only do the auto renew, right? Nothing else.
And the privacy guard.
Oh, that kicked in on its own for me. Okay, just those two.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And the auto renew is optional. Like if you think you're going to be using this domain for many years to come, definitely turn it on. If you are just getting this for class, that is completely fine. You don't have to turn on auto renew.
What if we wanted to pay for the next 2 years instead of 1 year? Because aren't we gonna be reimbursed with our stipend?
I think it's only it's very common to buy hosting for a longer period of time. Domain names in particular with a better domain name, registrars like Namecheap and Google Domains only let you buy it for a year at a time.
Oh, okay.
I think other registrars may let you buy a domain name for a longer period of time. But I believe with Google Domains and Namecheap, because they have consistent pricing, they only let you do a year at a time.
And Max, for creating an account, we use our own, right? We're not using like a Hack Upstate thing or anything, right?
Nope, your own account.
Okay, thank you.
And make sure you get that password written down because you're gonna need it in 4 months when Nathan, or I think it's Nathan, comes back and goes, hey, remember that domain name you all bought months ago? We're gonna wire that up to your hosting. And you're gonna go, what's my Namecheap password? So make sure you write that down.
Yeah, write it all down, keep it in a safe place.
So I have a question just before I click continue and officially check out. It says to keep your renewable settings on. I did that. Domain registration on, free domain privacy, and then premium DNS. I should make sure all of those are clicked. Good.
Premium DNS you do not want on.
Do not go on. Okay.
And if you have that on,
Oh, well, then it changes it and it won't automatically renew. Like it unclicks that box.
is premium DNS extra?
I don't know. I didn't click it. I didn't click to add it, but it's already on there.
Stand by. Namecheap changed their checkout process on me.
I'm sorry.
Not your fault.
It's all your fault.
I know it's always my fault. Always breaking something. I just wanted to double check. I don't even know what a DNS is.
We will be getting into that shortly. No, you want premium DNS off because it
Okay.
is $488 a year and you don't need it.
Okay, so then, then I just won't let it automatically renew. That's fine.
You'll get an email when it's gonna expire and you can just renew it manually. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to launch the poll in Zoom. If you're still in the process of buying your domain, do not answer at all. If you have gotten your domain purchased with Namecheap, go ahead and click on that link or that poll response. And if you had one with another provider, go ahead and click on that, just so I know how many of you guys are doing what. But if you are still working on it, do not vote at all. And Karen, you're not going to pick any of those selections. You only want the domain. So no web hosting, no VPN, no email, none of that. Just continue with the checkout process.
Oh, Max, can you make me co-host?
I have a question.
Nah, I don't know if I like you tonight.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be co-host.
Wow.
But you're doing fine. Just type it in the chat now. Why do you gotta be co-host?
Just in case I need a breakout room.
I'm just messing with you. No. So in order to get this reimbursed by Jesse, is just a screenshot of the confirmation, okay?
Yeah, something that shows the amount. You should get an email receipt in your email that has the amount and has Namecheap on it.
Okay.
And that should be enough to get it reimbursed.
Obelia and Corey have questions, it looks like.
Ophelia?
Oh, still muted.
Okay, here I am.
Go.
I'm just about finished with the registration.
Okay. So I'll let you keep working on that unless you have a question. Corey, do you have like an error message that you're getting, or?
Yes. I put the email in and it's not accepting it for some reason.
Does it say something specific when it says it's not accepting it?
It says business email. I'm getting looped up on that one.
Do you have any sensitive information on your screen, like your address?
Okay, I took it.
Okay.
Let me check it again. Am I at the right website?
Are you on namecheap.com? Or you on impact.com?
Impact.
Wrong website. Head over to Namecheap. That was my bad. Sorry. That
Okay.
first URL didn't work, and I can't delete messages in the chat.
Okay. Okay. So
Here.
Sorry about that.
I'll put it in the chat right now, Corey.
thanks.
Yep. You should be able to just, nope, that, okay. Hold on a second.
Thank you. Okay, got it.
Okay.
No, now I can join the conversation.
I think my screen just froze.
Okay, so we've got 15 students in here by my quick count, and we've got 9 people voted saying that they've got their domain. So we're making good progress. If you are stuck anywhere, feel free to raise your hand or throw the question out in the chat, and we will try and help you through it.
I am stuck.
Where?
Right on the payment page, I got to the bottom where it says save the configuration above to my default payment settings, and it just froze.
Spinning?
It's still sitting.
You may want to refresh the page
Okay.
and see if that resets you into the. Yeah, and if you download the receipt, once you get to that checkout process, that should be enough for Jesse. If you miss that step, you should also get an email order receipt. And that should be fine as well.
Okay.
Anything that just says Namecheap on it and the cost of the domain should be enough for reimbursement. Jahil, you just need the domain name. You do not need hosting or any of the additional services that they tack on, like premium DNS. It is just the domain name that we need.
I have a question too. Let me just go back to that page here. I just did the credit card stuff.
Yep.
And under it's got you can check automatically renew all of my eligible news servers, whatever. Domain registration, free domain, and then premium DNS. I probably don't click the automatically renew all of my eligible news services before expiration, correct?
So Alina said if she unclicks premium DNS, that the auto renew unclicks as well. So that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't click anything. This is how it was. So the first two check boxes, domain registration and free domain privacy, are checked. Should they be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
But
You're
And I don't
premium,
care about saving the configuration to my default.
that's fine. You don't have to save your credit card. You just want to make
Yes.
sure premium DNS is turned
Yeah,
off.
it's not like LL Bean and I'm gonna be going back all the time. All right.
And
Oh, yeah,
you'll
I'm gonna
get-
go shopping for domain servers every day. Okay, thank you.
You will get a email 30 to 60 days before your domain expires to go in and renew it. You don't have to you don't have to renew. And Susan, once you get into your dashboard, you should be able to turn off auto renew. So that's something that once we get in, I'll show that screen to everyone and we can make sure that it is set properly. Interesting. Yeah, I will show everyone where auto renew is once we sign in and make sure it is on if you want it to be on, or off if you want it to be off. All right, we've got 9 out of 17 people in, but it's more like 15. Karen, the next steps page should be fine as long as you got an order confirmation or the ability to download a receipt or a receipt in your email. That means you have made it through and you're all set. And you should come back into Zoom and say that you did it. Perfect. So they give you the ability when you set up the poll to say if it's anonymous or not, and then you can't see who voted.
I mean,
Awesome. Congrats.
thank you.
Can I still vote? I think I actually closed out the poll and didn't minimize it.
You should see like a polling icon in the Zoom window, like where your mute button is and your video button is. There should be like a graph with the word polling underneath.
Mm-mm.
It was there for me even when I wasn't.
Oh, there it is. It's way over. Okay,
Yeah.
analytics time. All right. Thank you.
So that should pop it right up.
Caitlin, can you say
Okay.
that again? I'm just curious where it is in case I ever need it.
Yeah, sure. It's along like that bottom menu where like, I think yours should be on the bottom too, where there's like the mute button, the stop video button, there's participants, chat, share screen, and then there's like a polling. It's
Well,
in
it's-
the
maybe because I already submitted it.
It's
No.
possible
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
because
And we don't
have.
proceed to the next step till you tell us, right, Max?
Yep. We're just gonna wait for like hopefully 2 more people to get through
I
it.
know, I just
Okay,
don't want to
so-
break anything. All
Did you
right.
go through that one more time, Max? Now that I've caught up.
Yeah. So at namecheap.com, you're going to search for your domain name.
Did that?
Okay.
Yep.
It's going to ask you, do you want to add all these services on? And you can say, no, all I want is the domain. So like proceed or
So
next.
just choose the 888 one?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then if premium DNS is turned on the next screen, you can turn that off. And then you should be able to enter your credit card information. You might have to create an account somewhere in those steps.
Yeah, I don't see the pre. It lists all these, oh, Okay, all these different options.
Yep, you can skip over all of them. All we want is the domain.
Domain. Mhm.
And just one little tip to act like a grandmother, make sure you put your credit card away when you're done and don't leave it somewhere, because my husband lost my son's driver's permit and it just came in the mail today. So he's a little stressed about it. So just make sure you put your credit cards away. Okay, grandma's done.
And also make sure that you don't screen share while you have your credit card information up, because we are also live streaming to YouTube, which is part of the reason why I didn't want to live stream this whole process. Was, you know, someone's going, oh yeah, the credit card's freezing on this screen, and you know, now your credit card number is shared to
Yeah.
everyone.
Minneapolis, here it is. Yeah, I was thinking that too. Careful, guys, the camera's here. All right.
All right, I'm gonna wait for one more person to get through, unless you have questions. Alina and Susan, to answer your question, I find that I type so fast that I need a second keyboard. And so I tend to, you know, write two applications worth of code at the same time. No, I'm totally
Wait,
kidding.
no, let me ask you a question. I'm like, really, it caught me off guard because I've never seen like a split keyboard. So is it like one keyboard, like a whole keyboard on just half, and then a whole other keyboard on the half?
Yeah, so it's literally half and half.
Oh, that's so cool. I've never seen anything like that. That's why I was like, wait, what?
So
sorry, we can't see it because of your background.
Green screen coming your way. Background, none. So if you see like the keys up at the top, it's QWERT, and then over on the other keyboard, it starts with YUIOP and all of those.
That's so cool. I've never seen anything like that.
And so the benefit of that is that you can position your keys as far apart as you want, and just type on one side or the other. So like just ergonomically, it makes a lot of sense for me. And so your fingers aren't, right, you're not like bending your arms in and then having them there. You get to spread your arms apart. And so that means less bend in your wrist, and that's much better for your wrist long term. Yeah, carpal tunnel, I'm sure is one reason why people get it. But if you just do a search for either an ergonomic keyboard or a split keyboard, you can definitely see there are a lot of options out there. And you can also get them for 30, 40 bucks. It's not like you need to break the bank on it.
Who is guard? I didn't do it. Is it too late?
You should have the option in your dashboard to turn it on, hopefully.
Okay.
I thought you said the privacy one was checked, no?
Is that what Who is Guard is?
Yes, it
Yeah.
will either say Who is Guard or it will say privacy protection. One of the two. And it also may depend on what domain extension you bought.
We can
Okay.
double check.
I'll go in and check. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, Susan, it is
So-
definitely a learning curve. If you're a home row typer, and you were classically trained on home row typing, then the split keyboard is not a problem for you. But when I started typing, I learned hunt and peck. So I don't actually use home row, but I type without looking. And so it drove my typing instructors nuts because I could break 100 words a minute and not use home row. And they were like so mad that I was able to do that. So the one thing that broke me is that I always hit the T key with my right hand, just because that was like what was natural for me. And as soon as I went to a split keyboard, I like would be hitting my desk and I'd be like, mother, and you know, had to retrain myself for that particular key. But keyboards are kind of a niche community. It's like people with their cars, and some people like, you know, love their 64 vets, and there's a 64 vet community and all of that. There are nerds out there with keyboards who can talk about the typing force that it takes to push down a key and how they would like their key to have more travel or less travel with it. Not dissing them, because when you spend 8 hours a day on a tool, like, only natural to you know, want to get into that. But keyboards are an entire community. And right before the pandemic, there was actually talk of a group spinning out of Syracuse.io that was going to talk about building your own keyboards and different types of layouts and different switches and all of that stuff.
I'm done.
Awesome. All right, we are going to steamroll forward here unless anyone starts screaming bloody murder that they did not make it through.
I made it through.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to end the poll. Now I'm curious. I still can't see.
Oh, there's.
Well, now you can view the results, but I still can't see who submitted what. Oh, well, I'll figure that out later. Okay, so we made it through. What we are going to do is we're going to pump the brakes at Namecheap, and we are going to switch over to our repository and pulling our repository. So I'm going to share my screen. And I am going to pop open Git Kraken.
You want us to move while you're doing it?
Yes, yeah. So definitely, good question, Corey. Definitely follow along as I do. All I did is open Git Kraken, and it's taken its sweet time, but it's finally getting there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is if you have the classroom repo either already open or you see it in recent, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to open a repo, and then I am going to open a repository, and I'm going to go to my desktop and to CIC. Nope, that's not where it is. I have it in a different folder. Projects, CIC, classroom. So this is the classroom repo. This is not the my code repo that we're opening here. So I'm going to hit open there. And if you've pulled the repo in the past couple of days, you can skip this step, but you don't have to. It won't hurt if you do this step over again. Git won't duplicate the code. If you keep pulling it, it's not like you're going to get copies and copies. It's just going to go, it's already up to date. You don't have to worry about anything. So you should. Question?
Yeah, because I was following along, but then I didn't get to you. So we're going to the careers in code
Classroom
not our
code base. Correct.
Okay, so I'm just going to go. Okay, let me see if I can figure it out.
If you go to file up at the top and drop down to open repo, that will get you into this screen. If you see the classroom code base repo over in recently opened, you can jump to it from there. Otherwise, you can click on open a repository up at the top, and then you have to navigate through your files to try and find it.
When I just pulled mine, it didn't look like yours. It didn't say.
Should look like that.
It looked like that. It doesn't have those commits. It had like Joey and some other stuff.
That's fine. That's because you haven't pulled it recently. So what it's showing is what you have on your computer. And so it's not showing what's up at the cloud or on the remote. So what we're going to do is if we go up to the top and we click on pull, hopefully you don't get that.
Well, now I think it's right.
I got lucky. See,
I'm sorry,
passwords afflict all of us.
Yeah. My Git Kraken window does not want to be smaller, but so I'm in my Git Kraken. No, I'm still in yours. No. There it is. All right. So file, open repo.
Yep. And then you're going to navigate to where, click on open a repository up at the top.
Yeah, because I didn't get that. All right. And then I go in, I'm in my Finder.
Yep. And so now you need to navigate to wherever you have the classroom code base folder.
All right, so careers and code.
And yes, Latonia, you are gonna click once you get to a screen that looks like this, even if it doesn't have these commits up at the top, go ahead and click on pool. And then what that's gonna do is over on the left, hopefully it says pooled successfully.
So careers and code, classroom code base, cohort
And then just hit
2.
open on that. Don't go into cohort 2.
I need help.
Oh,
because
just careers and code. All right,
Us careers and code.
thank you.
I pulled it
That's how that
before,
works.
like when we pulled it in class, but it's not opening. And then when I click repository and I open it on my careers and code folder that I have on my computer and everything like that. Once I click open, it says, oh, never mind, it worked this time. I lied.
The
Third
max
time's the charm.
effect.
third time's a charm. Sorry, guys.
If Max is watching, it works.
Yep. If I watch, it works. It's like the mechanic. I swear my car, it's making this sound. Oh, yeah, sure it is. And they drive it around the block and it doesn't
It's
do it.
fine. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna put you on the top because you're in charge of it, and put my Get Cracking down here.
Okay,
All right,
so
so-
once we've hit pool, we should be good in Get Cracking. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop open Finder, and I'm gonna go to.
Max is watching, it works.
Yep. If I watch it, I'm gonna go to desktop, and I'm gonna go to where I have my CIC code. And then I am going to open up the classroom and start digging. So I'm going to dig down to cohort 2, module 2, week 2, and then day 4 personal site. And you should see 4 files in there. If you see 4 files in there, I'm going to expand this path so you guys can see everything. So all the way over here, if you can see 4 files, that means your pool was successful. And that means that what you basically just did is you told Git, hey, another person on my team, another person who has that repository access updated something. I want to go out to the remote and pull it down. So I have the latest copy of it.
So I have a question before we move along. On my careers and code folder on the computer, you said you wanted us to open it. Did you want us to open that and pull down module 2? Because I don't actually have any folders in there. But on my Git, I do.
In Get Cracking, you want to open it at the classroom folder level, not at the module 2 level, because the repository is all the way up there. So once you get into module 2, you're going within the repository and you're just going to confuse Get Cracking. So in Get Cracking, you want to open the code base folder itself, not any of the folders in the code base.
All right, I got it. Thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
No problem. Good question. And once you pull it, now when you go back into Finder and go through this long chain of folders, that's when you should see those 4 files there.
I don't see weeks. I have in module 2, I just have day 3. But I don't, probably did something wrong somewhere, a different day.
So we're pulling that from you, right?
From the classroom code base. So Susan, are you in the code base folder or are you in your code folder?
On my desktop, I'm in the code base folder. I see 2 cohorts. I go to module 2, and when I drop down module 2, I just see day 3. I don't see weeks.
So your pool didn't work. So let's go back to Get Cracking.
Oh.
Okay.
And we're going to go back up to File Open. And then choose File Open Repo. And then
open a repo.
Open a repo.
Open a repository. Yep.
Yep. And then make sure you navigate down to the folder that's on your desktop, the one that you're looking in Finder. But stop navigating once you get to the classroom folder. Don't click on cohort 1 or 2. Just make sure you're in the classroom.
Okay.
And then hit open there. And what that's going to do is that's going to make sure that Get Cracking knows what repo we're trying to pull into. And then so now if we click on pool, you should get a little pulled successfully over on the left.
Yep.
Okay. And now let's go back into Finder.
Desktop, CIC, cohort 2, module 2. No, just day 3.
Okay. Go ahead and share your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to too.
Okay. Let's go back to yep. So you have the recent commits.
That looks right from here.
Yeah, so if you go to back to Finder and go to your desktop, go to your CIC, classroom code base, cohort 2. Well, you weren't lying.
I don't
All
know.
right. One more thing we can check. Let's go through that file open process again. So go back to, yep, and go click in anywhere in there, and then file open repo, and then open a repository up at the top. Well, actually hit, well, yeah, go for it. Go for it. Can't desktop CIC, yep, and then open. And then pool. I wonder if no merge necessary, pulled successfully. I wonder if it's because you have some files over on the right. Try right clicking on, you see where any of those 3 DS stores?
Yeah.
Just right click on one of them. Right clicking didn't do anything different on that. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, and then hit delete file. And then repeat that, and then delete all the way up at the top.
Yep.
And then rinse and repeat for the other 2.
There may have been like a merge conflict or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And now try and do your pool one more time.
Oh, good.
What the?
I'm so confused.
My poll failed. Let's try again.
So I'm having the same issue as, I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Is it Susan?
Yeah.
But I don't have anything on my, to the right to close out. I can see all of the files that you're talking about, like the background JPG, index HTML, normalized CSS, style CSS. But when I click on the careers in code file that I have on my desktop, and I click module 2, cohort 2, there's nothing in the module 2 folder.
Karen, if you're on and would like me to not curse you out over Git Kraken and have some advice, I'm happy for you to weigh in.
And I'm getting a poll failed, so I'm obviously doing something wrong.
Yeah, my poll said it was successful. Like I got the blue box on the left.
Good job. I'm jealous.
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing wrong though. I still don't have files, so.
I'm confused.
Can I click and drag the files from Git Kraken onto my desktop, or would that not work?
That's less than ideal.
I wouldn't do that.
Karen, are you there? Did I hear you?
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're getting all of that. The only thing I can do is try and do it myself to see if I get the same.
I mean, they've pooled,
Right.
and
I
the
bet-
pool is successful, so I have no idea why it wouldn't be. Yeah, Shaw, good idea. Let's
Yeah, and mine was unsuccessful, but I've got some of those files.
That was
So
going to be my next suggestion, was to try and clone it.
let's try VS Code. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to open up desktop 2. I'm going to go to my VS Code.
Can you share that screen that you're working on, Max, so we can, oh, there you go, thank you.
I'm going to go to File up at the top and drop down to Open. And I am going to go to where I have my classroom repo, which happens to be in Classroom. And I'm not going to dig into cohort 1 or 2. I'm just going to pick this classroom folder level. And then once that pops open, I'm going to go down to this tree icon. And then up at the top, I'm going to go down and I'm going to click on Pool. And then I'm going to go back to my Finder. I'm going to go through all of these folders and I'm hopefully going to have everything, right? Right, students? So again, after I opened it, I clicked on source tree over on I clicked on the source control icon, that little tree, went to the 3 dots up at the top and then dropped down to Pool.
And then what?
Drop down to
For
Pool.
me.
3 dots up at the top.
I'm sorry, Max. I think I have the classroom code base in my Visual Studio now. But I forgot the next thing to do.
Click on
Oh,
the
the tree structure, right?
Yep. And then 3 dots up at the top and drop down to Pool.
Oh, there it is. Boom.
Okay, and now when you go into Finder and go through the long path through module 2, week 2, hopefully you have 4 files in the day 4 folder.
All right, I need to refresh this, I think. No? Okay, close it out.
Alina, you do not have to use Git Kraken. Shortly
Yeah.
after class, I'm going to take it out back and shoot it in the back of the head.
Yeah, you know. I'm sorry, I'm not muted. Sorry.
So hopefully everyone has these 4 files, and we definitely want to get to these four files, so we have something we can deploy for tonight.
Susan said no dice.
All right, you wanna let me go ahead and share your screen, Susan.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna try the same thing. Right click on that DS store file. And then discard changes. And then do it on the other 2, delete file. And then one more time.
That's not letting me do it. Oh, there we go. Okay, now.
3 dots up at the top.
Yep, pull.
And Pool. Okay, and now go into Finder.
Max,
Yep.
at the bottom of her screen, it says master, and then it says there's an outgoing commit. See
Yeah,
the
but you should be able to pull without having to push.
You should, but I'm wondering what that is. Like there shouldn't be that commit arrow.
All right. If you have the files, that is good. You don't have to follow these steps. If you do not have the files, we're going to the nuclear option. We're going to delete it all.
I got a question.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to have like careers in code base or something, cohort 1 and 2.
Yes.
Perfect. And that's it.
If you go into module 2, week 2 and day 4, if you have 4 files in day 4, then you're good to go.
Okay. And if you don't, you just pull.
Yes. And
Perfect.
if the pool doesn't work, you follow the nuclear option, which we're about to do.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do.
I'm sorry, can I just share my screen for a quick second?
Yep.
Thank All right. I have some things that are struck through, crossed out.
Yeah, so you
And
you
all
broke the
kinds of
cardinal
colors
rule, which was don't edit any files in the code base folder. And so you're going to have to follow along with this nuclear option because you changed files inside the classroom code base, which you're not supposed to do. You're only
How?
supposed to change files in your My Code folder.
I
And
don't
so
know how. Okay.
the reasoning behind that is because when we update these folders, Git is now going to go, well, what am I supposed to do? You made changes and you're trying to pull in changes that the instructor made. So what we're going to do is I'm going to,
I have no idea how or why, and I apologize because I would never.
that's fine. It didn't harm anything. We have you locked out from being able to push any of those changes up. So what I'm going to do.
Me personally, I'm kidding.
So I'm going to go into Finder and I'm going to just delete my entire. Okay, hold on. Before I say any of this, if you have all the folders that you need and everything is working, just tune out. I'll focus you back in a minute. If you are having trouble getting those files, we're going to say screw it and we're going to start over. And you know what? This was totally intentional and I was totally planning on covering this because there are definitely times where you go, I screwed up my repository. I just want to get a fresh copy of it, right? Like totally those times happen. And so this is really good practice. And I totally meant to cover this in class tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to go find the classroom folder wherever it is in our computer on Finder, and we're going to delete it. So you can either right click and drop down to move to trash, or you can hit Command delete, and that will also delete the folder that you have selected.
But I'm going to lose all the .html files and stuff that we worked on.
Yes, because you should have been doing them in the My Code folder, not in the classroom repository.
But oh, these must be from, these aren't mine. These are like what? Okay. Go on.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to GitHub and I'm going to grab the classroom link and send that to everyone. And because we've got burned by Gitkraken, we're not, I need Gitkraken for the second half of class.
The octopus is in a bad mood.
Oh, crap. We're going to download GitHub Desktop. We're just going to roll with it. Everyone, follow along. Everyone, delete the codebase folder. Doesn't matter if you have all the files. We're jumping ship on Gitkraken. We are going over to GitHub Desktop. If you already have GitHub Desktop, you don't need to follow these steps.
But do you still want us to
delete the file off our computer?
Yes, we're gonna start, because the code base is always the remote is gonna have the most up-to-date copy. We're just gonna delete it and we're gonna go through this whole setup process without Gitkraken.
Okay, so close out of Gitkraken and remove the careers and code folder from our local.
Yes.
Okay.
Just
Like,
remove
as in delete it in the trash?
Yes.
Yes.
And just the
I'm just
classroom,
double checking.
not My Code. My Code, make sure you leave
Right.
in place. Don't touch My Code folder. You only want to delete the classroom folder.
And that's what I was worried about, but my stuff is in my code, so I'm
Your
okay.
stuff should be separate. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. We're good. Oh my God.
All right.
You are.
We're going to start over fresh. Classroom folder should be deleted from Finder. We're going to pretend like we never touched Gitkraken. We're sending it back down to the abyss of the Mariana Trench, and Gitkraken shall live no more. We are going to go to Google and we're going to do a search for GitHub Desktop. And the first link will do us fine. And we're going to hit that download button.
Yeah. Can't we do that from within our student developer pack?
You can. I believe it links you to the exact same place.
So either way. All right.
Yep.
So GitHub. Okay, great.
Okay. So I'm going to hit download for Mac OS and it's going to download the file. I'm going to click on the file to open it. And what it's going to do is it is going to it's going to expand it, and then it's going to show up as a download. So if I go to my downloads, and I go to GitHub Desktop, will show up in my downloads. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that over to my applications folder and drop it in there. We never want to run an application from anywhere except the applications folder. So if you ever click on an application to open it and it's not in your applications folder, delete it, close it, and move it over into your applications folder before we open it. So I'll take a pause and let everyone catch up. You should have GitHub Desktop in your applications folder. And it should not be the zip file. It should actually say GitHub Desktop and give you the outline of, they call that their OctoCat. Don't ask me the history behind it. What's that?
I mean, I'm sorry, the same login, right?
Same login. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Scream bloody murder if you're not at this step yet.
I only see a zip. Not...
Okay, so go ahead and click on that zip, and that will open the zip file, and then you will get the application out of
I
the zip.
see. Now I see it, and then move that to apps.
You got it.
Okay. I think I did it.
Anyone else?
All
I
right.
got it. I'm at let's get started.
Perfect.
So it should be on my tool, but there it is.
All right.
Welcome. Oh, sign up. Oh, this is my screen.
So
Okay.
I'm gonna open up GitHub Desktop, and if you get this to download it from the internet, go ahead and hit open on that. And this is probably not the screen that you will have. You'll probably have a screen that looks like this. If it asks you to sign in to GitHub, feel free, sign in to GitHub, use the username and password you already have. You should get on a screen that looks like this.
Come on, get out of my windows.
What we're going to do is we're going to hit clone a repository from the internet. And what we are going to do is jump over to URL, which is the third option. And then what you're going to do is you are going to go to the Zoom chat and paste in the URL that I sent.
Hey, Max.
Max, can you also be sending the links to Slack, because the Zoom chat is on my separate tablet that I watch things than my Mac.
Not a problem. Stand by.
Thanks.
Max, I'm in terminal trying to delete the careers folder, and I can't remember the code. I have RM. I tried -D.
RM space -RF. And you can it stands for recursive and folder, but you can remember that as remove folder.
Okay. Okay, now that's all set. Thank you. And then when I went into GitHub Desktop, it says, I can't find that folder. Do you want to clone it again? So should I go from this step?
So hit remove.
Remove. Okay.
And now you're going to get to the Let's Started screen.
Yep.
And now you can clone from internet.
Clone from internet. Okay. Okay,
And
and you're going to send a link.
Yep.
Okay.
And so the next step is we're going to hit choose here. And we're going to navigate to whatever folder or my code is in. So mine happens to be on my desktop, and I'm going to just hit open there. So basically I hit choose. I figured out where my code folder was, and not inside my code folder. The folder that my code is in is the folder we want to clone to. So if that's on your desktop, that's fine. If you have a CIC folder and then inside CIC, you had you used to have the classroom and the my code, that's the one that we want to pick. So I've cloned a repository up at the top. I picked URL up at the top. I copied and pasted in the URL from Zoom or Slack. And then I clicked on choose down here and navigated to wherever. So for me, I went to my desktop. I have a projects folder. I opened CIC and I'm not going to click on my code. I want to make sure I have my CIC folder selected, and I'm going to hit open there. Susan, do you
Can
need me
you?
to go back even further?
No, I just, from the let's get started screen, I'm creating a new one, or I just lost you there because
You
I was
clone a
behind.
repository from the internet.
Okay.
And then from the internet, you click on URL up at the top.
It's okay. Sorry. URL on the right. Yep.
Yep.
And then copy the link you put in the chat, or
Yep.
paste it. I mean, yep.
Kyle, I would suggest deleting wherever you cloned it and just doing it over again to play it safe.
Oh, man.
And so I'm going to go in, I'm going to pick this folder, and I am going to hit the clone button. And what that's going to do is it's going to download all the files for me. And so we're now going to go into Finder. We're going to go into that whole long path. Week 2. Are you kidding me?
So we want to pull.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong path. CIC, code base, module 2, cohort 2, module 2, week 2, day 4, and we should all hopefully have all 4 files.
Okay, so I just want CIC code.
You don't want it to be in the my code folder. You
No,
want it
no,
to.
it's up a level. It's
Okay,
it's in
then
the
that's the
same
one you
level
want.
where the classroom code used to be.
Yes, that is what
That's
you
the
want to
one
pick.
I want.
Yep.
All right.
I think I
Susan,
messed
did you get an option to re-authenticate or to log back in or anything like that?
Me?
Yeah, but I don't know what my username is.
So that should be your
Oh.
GitHub username and password.
I mean, I have the password. I don't know what the username is. How do I see that? I just have like GitHub like auto logged.
In
Let me
Chrome,
see. Oh, I got it. Let me try again.
Cool. All right,
Sorry.
who else is stuck?
I think I did it. So my GitHub desktop says no local changes made
Perfect.
after I did that. But then when I clicked show on Finder, it created its own new file. I didn't have to like put it in my code or anything. It just created its
Right.
own file on my desktop.
Yep, and it shouldn't be in my code. It should be right next to my code.
Okay, yeah, that is.
And then if you go through all of them, you should have all 4 files now all the way down that path that's on my screen now.
Yep, I did.
Perfect.
Thank
I
you.
get this folder contains files. Git can only clone to empty folders.
Okay, share your screen. You have to paste in the URL from either Zoom or Slack.
So the URL from my Finder.
The URL in that top field has to come from either Slack or Zoom. Go either to Slack or Zoom.
Oh, okay.
We have to tell it what we want to clone.
I thought that was in the Finder is what we were. Okay.
No, Finder's telling it where we want to clone to. We have to
To
tell it what
get
to
it
clone.
from.
And so
Oh.
go ahead and copy that URL, that GitHub. Yep.
I can find it here. Right here?
The thing that you already have partially highlighted, highlight the rest of that.
So I can
Go
do-
up to the URL and copy that.
All right.
Go back to GitHub Desktop. Click on
Okay.
clone a repository from the internet.
Yep.
Copy in
URL.
that URL. So just hit paste.
Right here.
Yep. And now you can go to choose. And go to your, yep, that's fine.
Oh, no.
Nope, not in there. So click on,
No. There, right there.
yep. Okay, and then hit open. And now hit clone.
Whew. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Susan, congrats, you're in. Karen, do you want to share your screen? All right, give me a oh, Fabilia, you still have a question?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay. I think you may have answered it already. I just want to make sure. I don't know if you can see that.
I cannot yet.
Okay. How do I get this larger?
Do you have a share screen option down at the bottom?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and click on that.
Okay.
And then you should have desktop 1.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
Okay, and then hit share down in the bottom right.
The bottom right?
There should be a share button after you click on desktop 1.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now I can see it. Okay, so
Okay.
click on URL up at the top. And then you're going to go either into Slack or Zoom and get that URL from the chat.
Okay. So if I'm pulling it from Zoom, which this pulled up the wrong thing.
If you click on chat, maybe up in that top bar in the screen sharing bar.
Okay. I think I'm just going to click on it from Slack.
That's fine too.
Might be easier to see.
Not a problem. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom there.
Okay.
In the center pane, just use 2
Okay.
fingers and flick. Yep, you got it. Keep going down. You're almost there. Okay, then that URL, you can click on it.
Oh, just click on it?
Yep.
Okay.
And then go up to the URL bar up at the top and hit copy.
Oops.
The URL all the way up at the top of the screen up here. Just click in there.
Oh, right there.
Yep.
Okay.
And copy. Okay, and now you're going to go back to GitHub Desktop down here.
Oops. Get rid of all of this.
Okay.
And right here.
Yep.
Okay. And paste.
And paste. Yep. And then you're going to hit choose.
Choose. Okay, right there.
And then you are going to, where is your My Code folder? Do you have that on your desktop?
It should be.
Okay, so go ahead and click on desktop.
Okay.
And yep, your My Code folder is there. So we're going to put the classroom folder there as well. So go ahead and just hit, nope, sorry. Hit, click on your desktop again. And hit open.
Open, okay.
And then we are going to hit clone.
It's cloning.
And you are now all caught up.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else want to screen share?
Oops.
Think we're all caught up. Sorry for the bumpy ride. It's going to get smoother from here, I hope.
Thank you, Max. Sorry you had to go through it too. You're so patient.
Who am I? Whose screen am I? Karen's screen. Okay. Hit close on that. And if you right click on this file, and drop down to discard changes, and then discard changes, and then repeat that again. So right click on the file, go to discard changes, and then discard changes again. And you are all caught up. and good to go. Anyone else have questions? Anyone else stuck?
I have to open in GitHub now, right?
Nope, just wait for the next instructions.
So leave GitHub Desktop
Yep.
there. I thought, okay, thank you. I kind of.
All right, show of hands. Who is absolutely in love with Git and is just so excited that they're going to use this for the rest of their career? Totally joking. No, it's a bumpy ride. GitHub Desktop, I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit smoother than Git Kraken was. We will try and use that. However, what I've said earlier still stands. If you like VS Code, you're rocking and rolling in VS Code, and you're like, I don't want to use another tool, use VS Code. If you're like, I'm going hardcore, I like the terminal, I can do everything in the terminal, go use the terminal. This was totally a planned exercise, so you guys know the frustration of a particular tool and know how to switch to a different tool that accomplishes the same task. So, you know, on your feedback surveys, which hopefully you will submit, you can definitely mention how much you love this exercise of understanding the differences of two tools. In case you can't tell, that was dripping with sarcasm, but anyway, we're going to keep on rolling here. We're going to keep on rolling. If anyone needs help getting to this point, Caitlin can set up a breakout room and help you there. Otherwise, we're going to try and actually, we're going to take a vote. Would you like to, oh, I can stop sharing the poll. We can either, I don't really have a poll set up for that. Never mind. Give me a open mouth reaction if you want to take a break, or give me a thumbs up if you want to keep going and take a break in 30 minutes instead. So open mouth for a break, thumbs up to keep going. All right, I'm getting the majority of thumbs up. So I'm going to keep going, but I will stop at 7:30. So you won't be too far behind for the open mouthers. Okay, what we are going to do, I promise this gets easier from here. I'm going to open a new Finder window. I do that by hitting Command N. If you're in Finder already, that's fine. Just open a new window. The first thing I want to do is navigate down through this super long path in the code base folder. So I'm going to go down to code base, cohort 2, module 2, week 2, day 4, and I'm going to see these 4 folders. If you can see those 4 folders, you're good to go. Now I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to go to my CIC folder. I'm going to open the my code folder. If you have a week 2 folder, or if you have a module 2 folder already, that's fine. Use it. I'm going to.
We can't see your screen.
Thank you for whoever called that out. I'm all the way down in the code base folder, cohort 2, module 2, week 2, day 4. That is in one window. I am now going to open another window. I'm going to go to the my code folder. I'm going to create whatever folder structure I want. So I'm going to just emulate what's in the up here. So week 2. I'm going to create a new one called personal site. And then I'm going to grab these files and copy and paste them into the my code folder. So we are copying them from the code base down. No, we don't want to do this. I'm sorry. Don't do that. Don't create the personal site folder yet. What we are going to do is we're going to go to GitHub Desktop. We're going to close out of the one that's already open. And then we're going to go back, reopen it, and go to File up at the top and go down to New Repository. And so the reason I changed tactics there is we need our repository created before we add files to it. And so we're going to go to File up at the top, drop down to New Repository, and our repository name has to be something very specific. Because we are using GitHub Pages, it has to be your GitHub username .github.io. So let me just confirm that. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, my repository name is going to be my username. And so whatever your GitHub username is what you're going to want to type in there, .github.io. And the place we want to set that local path is going to be in the My Code folder, module 2, week 2, and that's where I'm going to want to put it. So I'm going to hit open there. And then I'm going to hit create repository.
You said it was, what was the last of the repository name?
It is going to be your
username.
Username.github.io.
Thank you.
But you're in VS Code?
No, I was in GitHub Desktop.
How do I close out of the open thing in there? I don't see how to close out.
So just go to File up at the top and drop down to New Repository, and that should get you to the right spot.
Okay, and call it what you just said, my name, something, something.
Your GitHub username.github.io, and then you're going to want to create that file. So I'm going to do.
Do we want to choose the local path that it's going to? Like double check that it links to
Yeah, so that local path, you're going to want to make sure is somewhere in your My Code folder.
In my code folder, not careers and code folder.
Correct. This is going in My Code because what we're doing is we're setting up your repository for your personal site.
Okay. So then when I get to my code in the Finder, do I click on any of anything or just leave it at my code and open?
Wherever you want your personal website folder to be created is where you want to select the local path. So if you want it in a week 2 folder, go ahead and put it in module 2, week 2. If you would rather have it be all the way up at the top level of my code, that's completely fine too.
Do you want to initialize this repository with README?
Sure.
Okay, and then git ignore none and then license none.
Yep, and go ahead and hit create or clone. Create repository.
Max, this may sound like a silly question. This is Latonia.
Yep.
So when I sign in, my username is my email, but when I get in, it has my name, my first name with a dash, and then my second. Is that my username?
Yes.
Okay.
Mine says that this appears to be a GitHub repository, and would you like to add this repository instead? This directory appears to be a Git repository, excuse me.
Oh, do you have a no option there?
It's just a link. Add this repository as a link. There's a cancel, but there's no.
Try cancel.
Faded out. Okay, that closed out the whole window. So then I have to do new repository again.
Okay, so if you're getting that error message, go ahead and create the folder outside of my code.
Okay.
So what GitHub is doing is it's saying you're trying to create a repository in a repository, and that's going to cause headaches down the road.
Okay.
So you may have to create it outside the My Code folder if you get an error message that says this is already a repository.
Thanks.
Alina, I'll get to the copying of the files in the next step.
Max, did you say to put this GitHub repository in my module 2 folder or just in the My Code folder?
That's up to you. Whatever you prefer is fine.
Okay, thanks.
Carolyn, you want to share your screen?
Sure. All right. I think I'm like falling asleep mid-thought here or something.
Okay, we're going to
Um,
go to GitHub Desktop.
All right, so.
We are going to go to File up at the top and drop down to New Repository. We're going to type in your GitHub username. .github.io. We're going to drop down to that choose field. Choose up at the, no. Okay, before we click on something, we have to
I didn't
confirm.
click on it on purpose. It,
Hit
yeah.
close out of this. Gonna go to Finder. We are going to move that Grace Hopper folder into CIC my code. Okay, we're gonna go back to GitHub. We're gonna click on locate there. We're gonna click on my code. And we're gonna click on Grace Hopper. And then we're gonna hit open. Susan, yes, you can move it from wherever it is on your desktop to wherever you want it to be. And then when you open up GitHub Desktop again, just click locate, tell it where it is, and hit open, and you should be good to go there. So this is the screen you should be on. If you have made it to where it says your two things you're looking for, it should say your username.github.io up in the top left of GitHub Desktop, and it should have a big no local changes. If you've made it to that step, you're all caught up.
excellent, because when I got the screen before with no local changes and nothing else, I didn't know where I was. Okay, good. Thank you.
You're caught up at this point.
Thank you.
All right, I know someone else has got to want to share their screen. Who's up? We feeling good? Feeling like we're really deserving that break at 7:30? All right. So I'm actually going to give you a break a little early, but before we do, we want to celebrate a win. So all we're going to do is we're going to take the files that I have already created, which, by the way, you're free to snoop around. We're actually going to edit them when we come back from the break and get your name in there and all of that stuff. But we're going to get your first website published on the internet so that you can go send it to all of your friends and go, look, I got my site online. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, we have no local changes here. We're going to go into Finder and we're going to go to the code base folder, not where you created the repository. And we are going to go all the way through cohort 2, module 2, week 2, day 4. And we're going to grab these 4 files and we can hit Command A to select them. And then I'm going to hit Command and C. Okay. And once we have them copied, I'm going to hit Command N to open a new window. And then I'm going to go to wherever I created my username.github.io folder. So I have that in, I don't even know where I have that. I have that in my CIC maxmatthews.github.io. That's the file, that's the folder we're trying to find. So wherever you have that created is fine. I'm going to open it.
So we want to put them in that folder.
In that folder. I'm
Okay,
going to paste my files in and you'll see my 4 files are now in there. Okay.
Dominic said we can't see your screen.
Oh my. Thank you for reminding me of that. When I get frustrated, it's frustration at myself, not frustration at you guys.
It's okay.
So I am up at the top. I went into my code base, folder, the classroom folder, I dug through all the files. I made it down all the way to the bottom. I hit Command A, I hit Command C. I now have those files in my clipboard. I then went in and found wherever I created my maxmatthews.github.io folder, wherever that may be, wherever that ended up is fine. And then I clicked into that folder and I hit Command V, and that pasted in my 4 files. Okay, like 3 more steps and then we're taking a break. Promise the steps are going to be quick. We're going to go to GitHub Desktop again. GitHub Desktop now realizes I added those 4 files. And it's going, you've got new files in your repository. Would you like to commit them? So I'm going to come down here, and in the summary, I'm going to say a very descriptive commit, just like hello world is a ritual for your first program. Whenever you create a new repository, your first commit message is always first commit. Very descriptive. You're celebrating getting that commit done. So I'm going to...
I'm sorry, we're opening this in Visual Studio Code?
No, GitHub Desktop.
Okay.
So I'm in GitHub Desktop down here at the bottom, and this is what I should see in my GitHub Desktop. So all I'm going to do is in this summary field where it says summary required, I'm going to click in there. I'm going to type in first commit, and then down here, I'm going to say commit to main. So I click commit to main, and I just committed it. I haven't pushed it yet. So in order to push it, what I am going to do is I'm going to click on publish repository. And then it goes, okay, where would you like to publish this? So it has my name set already. That's good. I'm going to uncheck keep this code private. We don't want it to be a private repository. We want it to be a public repository. And then I am going to click on publish repository. You should not get that error message that I just got. Stand by. I'm going to fix that on my side very quickly.
Are we going to get a successful repository commit code on GitHub Desktop like we were on the other one?
Yes, you should have something. Give me 1 second. Okay, so once you click publish repository, what you should get is it will say no local changes. And then up at the top, it says fetch origin last fetched just now.
Yep. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you.
So
2 quick questions. First, is the word first or 1 ST for commit?
It doesn't matter, either or.
Okay, and the button to the thing I have to, the purple button that says commit to main, it's not hot and it won't let me.
Did you type in the summary field or the description field?
Oh, never mind. I thought that was the title. See, here's the case of user interface. All right. Now it's hot. Okay, so then there should be another button, publish repository.
Yep.
Riley, shut up. Publish repository?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And do I want to describe it?
Nope. Just make sure it's not private.
Oh,
And Karen, go ahead and share your screen.
thank you.
Okay. So we've got a major problem. It's github.io, not github.ieo. And so there's no easy way to rename that. Have you already gone through the publish step?
Wait, when did you say IEO?
I
thought you said
didn't.
IO.
IEO is a mistake. It should be IO.
Mine's IO. Okay, you almost made me have like a mini heart attack. Like, wait,
Sorry.
hold on, you broke it.
So Karen, we're gonna have to fix that. But did you already go through the publish step yet? Okay, that's a bigger mistake to fix. Can you guys raise your hand if you have made it through the publish step? Okay, okay. Good, good. Okay, you guys can all lower your hands. Karen, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show everyone where their code has ended up, and then we will take a break, and I will help you through getting this fixed. So if we go, I'm going to stop your screen share and start mine again. So to prove that we got our code where we want it to be, I'm going to go to github.io. I'm sorry, github.com. We're going to go to github.com. And over on the left, you should see repositories. If you see your username.github.io, you can click on it. Otherwise, you may have to type in find and type in that your username.github.io. Don't tell me I'm not sharing my screen this time. I remembered. I'm going to click on my repository, and you notice I have 5 files in here, the 4 that we copied and 1 extra for free. And we can prove that this code is in here because if I click on one of them, you can actually see the code that I wrote out, right? So not only did we create our own repository and we got it pushed up to GitHub, but notice that URL that we used is kind of special, right? It looks like a website. We can actually copy this URL, paste it into our address bar, and when we hit enter, mine's not going to load because I already had one set up, but give me a thumbs up if you get a page that actually loads. You see a nice background picture and my name in there and full stack developer. You guys just deployed your first website. And yes, I'm well aware that it has my name on it, but after the break, we're going to go through, we're going to practice committing again and pushing up the changes. And then we're going to link up your domain to that website that we just deployed. Okay, something to look forward to. We got all the bumps out of the road already in the first half of class. We're going to come back. We're going to fly through DNS linking. We're going to make our changes. We're going to practice with our website, and we're going to be good to go. Alina, if you have, what's your 6th file? 1, 2,
I have
3.
Git attributes, README, background, JPG, index, HTML, normalized CSS, and style CSS.
Yeah, your README won't hurt anything. You're fine. You're fine if that's in there.
And then how did you go to, what did you do on GitHub to deploy the website so it shows up with all of your nothing?
It automatically deploys. So it recognizes that .github.io means that you want a GitHub Pages hosting site. And so you should just be able to open a new tab and go to that page.
Yeah, mine did not do that.
Okay. I'm going to dismiss everyone for a break. I'm going to give you guys until 7:45. And I'm going to work with Karen because Alina figured out her issue.
When we work with Karen, depending on how long that takes, Corey and Brandy are probably stuck at the same spot.
Okay. Do we want to do breakout rooms or just go one by one?
We can. I kind of missed like what you did when I was with Corey and in the breakout rooms, like a couple minutes. So if you catch me up on that, I can do that. But
yeah. So Karen, let's work on your issue first. And then when we fix your issue, we should be able to loop everyone back in. But don't feel like you have to stick around, go on your break. Not a problem.
When we play around with it, like if I'm playing around with it during break, are we editing it in VS Code?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then you can commit and push either in GitHub Desktop or in VS Code and give it like 3 minutes and you'll find the site auto updates.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
7:45.
7:45, we're coming back from break.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, Karen, do you want to share your screen?
Okay, will do.
And there's feedback coming in from your side. Do you have audio coming in one device and another device unmuted?
Yeah, wait a minute. Let me turn this down. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So if you share your you can't share your screen because I'm sharing my screen. Now you should be able to share your screen. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to delete this repository on GitHub and then recreate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Chrome in the bottom left and go ahead to github.com. Just type in .com and hit enter. Okay, and then if you make that window a little bit bigger, yep, and then click on sign in the top right.
Oh, okay, let me move my screen.
And we're getting feedback again. Okay, go ahead and click sign in. Top right. And sign in. Okay, so it looks like that's not the right password. Can you try a different one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So go ahead and click on the repository over on the left. Okay, and then you're going to click on settings. And scroll down a little bit. And click on, actually keep going down, all the way down. And then all the way down to the bottom. We're going to delete this repository. And then go ahead and copy that whole line of text into this text box. And again, this is only for Karen. I'm not suggesting anyone follow this. This is just so we can fix a typo issue. So no one should be deleting their repository unless they have a typo issue. So go ahead and click on I understand, delete. Okay, now we're going to go back to GitHub Desktop and we're going to recreate it without that typo in it. So come out of full screen mode in Chrome. And go back to GitHub Desktop. Actually, before we go to GitHub Desktop, we're going to delete it from Finder. So go to Finder in the bottom left where it's highlighted.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to go probably to your desktop over here. And we're going to open up CIC. And it's not there. So it must be in your documents maybe. So maybe go to your home folder and open up, oh, you don't have a document. Try yeah, try that. And open GitHub. And then delete this folder.
Okay, so how do I delete?
Move to trash.
Remove trash. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and close that. Okay, and now if you guys have struggled to create your repository, anyone listening who needs to catch up, if you have not gotten your repository created, this is where you can listen in and follow. So go ahead and click in GitHub Desktop.
Here?
Yep. And then go to File up at the top. And drop down to New Repository. And then go ahead and type in your GitHub username.github.io. Okay, and then go ahead and click Choose here. And then go to whatever folder that you want this folder to be created in. And so probably in CIC on your desktop. Okay, and then go ahead and hit open. And then go ahead and hit create repository. Okay, so we're going to go to Finder down in the bottom. And we're going to go over to your home folder. I'm sorry, go to Documents instead.
Here?
Documents.
Okay.
And open up GitHub. And open up the code base. And open up cohort 2. Module 2. This code isn't up to date. All right, let's see if you have it somewhere else on your computer. Try going to your desktop. And maybe CIC. And that code base folder. Nope, the other one. So hit the back icon. And then the code base folder.
On the Mac.
Cohort 2. Module 2. Okay, so you've put folders. Your files are scattered all over the place, and so that's why we're running into issues. You've got 2 or 3 copies of the classroom, and you've put files in the classroom, and we can't get to the updated files. And so I'm hesitant to even delete the ones that are there because I don't want you to lose any files that you may have already created. So I'm gonna switch to another student and see if I can help them out. And then we can circle back at the end of class and see if we can get you straightened out. Is there another student who is stuck and wants to screen share? Phobelia or Mel, whoever starts the screen share first, I will help you through it.
Here I am.
Go for it.
Okay, I am up to this part here. Let me screen share first. Okay. And I'm trying to share it.
There you go. Practice makes
Oh.
perfect.
Very good.
Okay.
So I got up to the part where I enter my username.
Yep. And so do we want to create this on your desktop?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and hit create repository.
Okay.
Okay. And what you will notice is there should be a new folder on your desktop called misfo.github.io. Go ahead and
Yes.
pop that open
Okay, just
over on your desktop.
on the desktop. On the desktop. Duh. Okay.
I have it circled for you in orange.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now we are also going to open the code base folder here.
Okay.
And now we're going to start digging. So we're going to go cohort 2. We're going to go module 2. We're going to go week 2. We're going to go day 4.
Oh, okay.
Double click. Yep. Okay. And go ahead and hit Command A.
Command A.
Yep. And then Command C. So
Command
that's select all and then copy. And now we
Okay.
can close this window. Okay. And then just click in this one over here and hit Command V.
V as in Victor.
Yes. And that is for paste.
Paste.
Okay. So what we just did is we took our code base code, the code that I already wrote, and we copied it and pasted it into the repository that you just created.
Okay.
So now that we have it in the repository, we need to get that committed in. So we're going to close this window. We're going to go down, click in this window. Okay. And it's saying, look, I found these 4 files here that you've added to the repository. So we're like, great. So we're going to go down into the summary field and we're going to type in first commit.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay. Does it have to be uppercase, lowercase?
Nope. Whatever you want.
Okay.
Okay.
M-I-T-T? M-I-U.
C-O-M-M-I-T.
Yeah,
Okay.
close enough.
And go ahead and click on commit to main.
Okay.
Okay. And now we have that on our local repository, but we need to get that up to GitHub. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on publish repository. And then what we are going to do is uncheck keep this code private. And then click on publish repository. And you were not as far behind as you may have thought you were because you just published your first website. And so to prove that, we are going to go back into Google Chrome.
Okay. Wait. Oops. I can't find.
It's hiding behind your Zoom window.
Yeah, it is.
The other trick you can do is hit Command and space.
Command and spacebar.
Yep, and type in Chrome.
Oh, okay.
And just hit enter and that will pop it open for you as well. Okay, and so we're going to type in your GitHub username .github.io.
Oops, misspelled my name. .github.
Don't forget your O there.
Oh. GitHub.io.
Yep. And hit enter. And there's your website.
Holy cow. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. All right, Mel, you want to screen share? Mel, when you say system preferences, does that mean you're setting up screen sharing or you need help getting through what you need to do in system preferences?
Max, you should probably take a break. Get up, stretch your legs, walk around the room, blink hard a couple times.
I second that.
Stare 20 feet away for
I
20
third
seconds.
and fourth that.
It was a little bumpy, but it's okay. We're rolling now. We've got our site up. We're making progress.
Yeah, we're all still here. No one's like dead or dying, so we're fine.
Might make an executive decision for the next cohort that we will skip Git Kraken and go right to GitHub Desktop.
I want to learn Git Kraken. I like the way they show the piping on there. Like just how it's broken out.
GitHub Desktop should have that same view. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever tool you like is the tool you should use. Karen loves Git Kraken, or Karen's boss loves Git Kraken and couldn't stand source tree, and that's why they use it, right? Git is a very complicated tool that takes a while to learn, and is very common for developers to feel lost in, or feel like they're struggling with it, or like it has a steep learning curve. And so whatever tool helps you get over that learning curve, use it.
Yeah.
The where I draw the line is when you pull the code and it says the code is pulled, and then all three professional developers on the call went, well, why isn't it showing up in Finder? So it's when the tool doesn't work that I draw the line.
Max, do you remember the days of FTP, Telnet, and Gopher?
I do, and FTP to this day is still used.
Oh my gosh, we had a dial-up connection at home, so I was trying to do stuff for my graduate work while I was working full-time. It involved gophering to these directories. It was before the web.
Yep.
And you'd think you were like getting into something, and you gopher. And of course, it was costing money to use dialogue databases and stuff. And you'd get to the level where you thought something was and there was nothing there, or you'd get kicked out.
I don't go quite that far back, but I definitely go back to the FTP days where that was the dominant way that you uploaded files to a server. Fortunately, these days that has largely been replaced with either SFTP or FTPS, which are two ways of securing access to FTP. Kind of. There's a technical thread that I could pull there, but I'll let it be. But FTP to this day is still pretty widely used.
Yeah. And you used to, when the browser came to be, you would type telnet : // gopher : / FTP : /
I believe, and I don't know if you have a ton of experience with this, Caitlin, on the DevOps side, but I believe Windows still uses Telnet over SSH. SSH is pretty much the dominant way you access a server remotely from your computer. And that is just another internet protocol, and SSH has been around for as long as FTP and Telnet and all of those have. But I believe Windows, and don't quote me on this, but Windows may still use Telnet for terminal access to their servers.
Interesting.
I would know for sure, but you could be right. I don't think I pay enough attention to that.
Well, and you're not doing DevOps work at work, right? You're not deploying things or anything like that.
No,
So
I'm not. Nope.
Yeah, it was all part of our curriculum. In fact, email was in the curriculum because, you know, if you didn't work for the Department of Defense, you didn't do email. So it's like we had to be taught. And that's only in 1994 when I started the program. And then that fall of 95 is when Netscape came out.
Yep.
And before that, it was, what was before Netscape? Mosaic.
Do you know what
So-
also came out with Netscape? JavaScript.
Oh, cool.
The inventor of JavaScript, which by the way, one guy wrote all of JavaScript in like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. He was like, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to create an entire programming language. We need it in 3 weeks, and he got it done.
Hey.
And I
Right.
believe, I'm pretty sure it was around the time that Netscape came out, or it came out with Netscape. And he went on to work with Mozilla, with Firefox, and has created a bunch of things after that. But
It sounds a little familiar now, actually. What's his name?
I want to say like Brendan Ehrlich.
Yeah, here it's in there somewhere. Yeah, in that HBO series Silicon Valley, one of the characters. I think part of his name is Ehrlich, and it's probably
Brendan Ike is his name.
yeah. Okay.
I had to look it up, but he is known for creating JavaScript, for his work with Mozilla and Firefox, and then also for his involvement with creating the Brave browser, which is getting a niche following behind it.
The Brave browser?
Yeah, it's a browser that has ad filtering built right into it, and is all about data protection and not allowing advertisers to track you across the internet.
Cool. Works for me.
I have a quick question about my personal code folder in VS Code, and kind of what we were doing tonight, where we deleted our entire folder and then re-downloaded it.
Yep.
I have like a bunch of, when I go to the commit option in you know, the branching file logo in VS Code, I have a bunch of like crossed out files that say D next to it, which I assume is for delete, because I was moving around. Like when we changed the names to like day 3 and all that stuff, it can't find them anymore. Can I get rid of all those by deleting my folder and re-downloading it from GitHub? Is that how I would do that?
What folder? The classroom folder or
My
the
personal one?
Yeah,
Like maybe I'll put it on a USB first just to be safe, but
yeah. So have you been committing and pushing the my code folder up to GitHub? Or have you
yes,
just
except for the like ones where I moved or renamed the files.
Okay,
Like,
so in that case, it's fine to commit the removed or the moved files. So when you commit that, you're just telling GitHub, hey Git, I moved this file. I intentionally moved this file, commit it into my repository. So it's actually fine to commit all of those things that are showing up.
great, because it's kind of getting to be a mess on this left-hand side. So that's great. Thank you.
Yep. So what you'll do is you'll hit the plus button next to all of those if they're showing up under unstaged. And then for your commit message, you can just or the summary, whatever comes up, you just type in moved files or reorganized or whatever.
Right.
And then you can commit and push, and that will clear them all out for you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yep. Good question. So Mel, you probably just have to quit Zoom and reopen it at this point, and that should let you screen share when you come back.
Thank you, Max. I was trying to figure out what.
All right, so we're getting everyone back in. We'll give everyone one more minute. The bottle I'm drinking out of is green, so when I get it close enough to the green screen, it just chops the whole thing off or makes it look. Can't get it to do it. Oh, there we go.
My glasses are green. I probably have like holes in my face.
My favorite color is either blue or black. If you make the argument that black is the combination of all colors, it's not technically a color, but
Or in the other color system, it's the absence of colors. It depends which one you're using, right?
Yeah, white is all colors.
But there's another,
Oh,
Dave
you're
Blankets
right,
went
you're
through
right.
this whole thing with us about this depends on there's the additive system. I never
Yes.
got this. And I don't know if it's
If you think
subtractive.
about the light spectrum, white is all colors of light, black
Right.
is the absence. It's the
Right.
light spectrum you're probably thinking of. But
Right. No, there was, I got to look back on it too, though, because he said there was another approach. It bends the mind.
All right, so we're all getting back. We got all the bumps out of the way. We're going to rock and roll. We are going to update the website so your website doesn't have my name on it. We are going to practice another commit and push and getting that website updated. We're going to get our DNS link together, and then we are going to take a vote on whether we want to move forward with getting email set up, or if we want to just pump the brakes and go into questions. So I'm going to dive in. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop open my VS Code, and I'm going to share my screen. I promise I'm not drinking yet. Okay, we're in VS Code. We're going to go to File, Open up at the top, and we are going to find wherever the github.io folder is that we created. So we're not going to the classroom code base. We're going to wherever you created your github.io folder. So we're going to open that, and over on the left, you should find some files that are familiar to you, right? A normalized.css, which we're using to reset. I've got my background image, which, by the way, I definitely pulled from Unsplash, so we're getting copyright free here. And then I also have my style sheet and my index.html. So someone asked a question about, hey, in your index, you have a thing called big image in overlay, and then just your H1, right? Like, where's the image tag? What we used instead was we went to style.css and we used the property called background image. And basically what that's doing is, instead of saying, hey, this image is some content that we want to show up into our HTML, we're saying, hey, this image is more of a styling thing. And so because it's styling, we do that over at the CSS world. Well, if you go, Max, this is great, but how did you know how to write all this code? Well, the answer is I didn't. I went and I Googled full screen background image with overlay because I wanted it to have a little black to it. And this is one of the first or second links that came up with kind of exactly what I wanted. It had the HTML and the CSS. So I went, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want our site to look like. So I went, I copied this, I put it in my own files. And then what I did is I went in and I started tweaking it. And I went, oh, he's got some stuff for links that show up at the bottom. I don't want that. So I just commented that out. And then I went into my HTML and I deleted some of those classes out that were in the original source. But the most important thing I did is I linked to it, right? I'm not trying to take credit for it. In fact, if you go to my personal website, and I'm going to zoom in here, you can see down at the bottom, there's this little link for credits. And so when you open up credits, you can see I took this theme from someone else. I didn't build this site from scratch. I just found one that I thought that looked pretty. And if you click on it, you can see I linked right to the GitHub repo. And so you scroll down enough, you can see that looks just like my website. And there were a couple things that I tweaked or I didn't like about it, and that's what I went with, right? Same thing for the backgrounds. All these backgrounds, whenever you refresh my site, you get a different background. And so I always have a credits page on things that I publish that have the original source links in them. So for now, all I did was added that source credit into my HTML as a comment. just so I know I can go back there and figure out where I got it and getting all of that. So anyway, what we're going to do is go into your H1 tag and go ahead and put your name in there. So I'm just going to delete my last name for now. You can put, your name in there. And then for your P tag, you can either put like a little tagline that you would like to show up. You could put in your email address if you wanted to. Whatever you would like to show up. Just keep in mind that this is going public on the internet. So anyone who stumbles onto your website will be able to see whatever you're putting in here. So whatever change you make is completely fine. And if you decide this weekend, I want to scrap all of these files and start from scratch and start making my own page, that is a completely fine thing to do. We're just doing this so we have that baseline, that starter, but feel free to modify this however you want. Okay, so we have this in here. What we are going to do is we're going to go back to GitHub Desktop, although if you wanted to do this in VS Code, you totally could. If you did this in VS Code, you come over to the source, you would click the little plus icon here, you would type in your message, you'd hit the checkbox, you'd go down to the drop down and hit push, and that's completely fine. But to practice with GitHub Desktop, I'm going to pop open GitHub Desktop and open up my repository if I don't have it open already. And it's showing me the code that I changed here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my message and I'm going to say changed name. Okay, and then I'm going to hit commit to main. And then over here, I get my push option. That used to say publish. Now it says push because we've already published it. We've already got the repo set up. So now it's just a matter of pushing that up. So I'm going to hit push. And I'm going to take a break in 1 second. I'm going to go back over to my GitHub. And when I refresh this page, you see that it says change name in one of my files. So I can pop that open. I can scroll down here and see that my name has changed. And I can even go to my website, which is my GitHub username.github.io. And you can see my name is updated. Congratulations, you're all now webmasters. You have edited a website. Kyle, good point. We did forget to change the title. And I didn't forget. I was just making you practice committing more. So go back into your VS Code. Go ahead and change your title up here to your name. And then try and practice both committing and pushing in whatever tool you didn't use before. I'm going to stop screen sharing and I'm going to let someone jump in. If you're lost, if you need me to go over another step. All right, how we doing?
Could you show how to push from VS Code one more time?
Absolutely. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make the change to my file. I'm going to share my
I can't see.
screen.
Thank you.
So it's our name, not our.
Yeah, it's whatever name you want to show up on your website. You can
Okay, thank you.
choose to use an alias. You can whatever you want to show up. Okay, so I'm going to make a change to my VS Code file. I just deleted out my last name there. I'm going to hit save. And now that change shows up in VS Code. So I can hit that little plus icon here which is adding it. It's moving it from my working directory into my staged directory. And so that now shows up as staged. So I'm going to go up into my message.
Wait, could you wait 1 second? I
Yep.
don't have that plus.
Does it show up under staged?
No.
Okay, so you probably haven't made a change to the file.
I did.
Okay,
And-
if you
And
open
I
the,
hit Command S, right? And I saved it.
yep. And then over on the left, do you have a little 1?
Yes.
Okay, so click on that. And then do you have changes?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So sometimes
I
you just got to wait for the save, or you trick it, you go out and come back in, and that will make it show up. Okay. So we hit the little plus, and that moves it from changes to staged. And then we come up to our message at the top and we say change title, or whatever you want. Commit message is purely for your benefit, or really for your team's benefit to know what changed in this commit. We're going to hit the little check icon up at the top. And then we are going to slide over 2 icons to the 3 dots and go down to push. And after a little salt and pepper, we can come back over to our site, refresh, and it may not be there yet. It does take a minute or 2 for that deploy to go through.
Okay. And one other thing is, it asked me, would you like code to periodically run git fetch?
Yeah, you can do that. Basically, what it's doing is it's saying, hey, would you like us to check GitHub and let you know if there's any new code up there that you don't have? So a fetch is like a half pull. You're not actually committing to pulling it down and getting those files. A fetch is just asking, hey, are there any new files up there? Let me know if there are. And then I can decide if I want to pull them. So if you get a prompt about if you'd like it to get fetched, that's a fine thing to turn on. Probably not something you'll be using because you're the primary one updating this code. But down the road, it may come in handy.
Great, thanks.
And so if I refresh my screen, you see the tab up at the top now has my name. It does take a minute because what GitHub is doing magically behind the scenes is taking the files that we had in our repository and publishing them out to the web server so that we can see them. So sometimes that's called a publish, sometimes that is called a deploy. That is all automated for us. That all happens behind the scenes. Okay, so we're gonna get our DNS linked, and then I'm gonna pump the brakes and let everyone ask questions. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I need to tell GitHub, hey, GitHub, I'm gonna throw a custom domain coming your way. So I'm gonna go into settings, and I'm going to drop down to GitHub Pages towards almost all the way at the bottom. And you notice there's this thing that says custom domain. That's what we want. So we are going to type in the name of the domain we bought over at Namecheap. So for me, I am going to use, totally not stalling, I'm going to use the domain dropfeedback.to. You should type in whatever your domain name is that you just bought at Namecheap, or another domain name that you have registered somewhere else. And then you're going to click on the save button.
Sorry, is that on GitHub?
Yeah, I'm at github.com. Let me back all the way up. This is github.com. If you see your repository over here, mine's right here, you can click on it. If you don't, just start typing in your GitHub username.github.io. And that will show the link. Once you click on the link, we can go to settings here. Settings at the top in the middle.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And then we're going to scroll all the way down until we see GitHub Pages. And in the middle, it should say custom domain, and you'll have a blank text field.
Okay, custom domain.
And so you're going to type in whatever domain that you're using there. and click on save.
Just the domain name, not like .com or anything, right? I use my name for mine, so mine's like Alina Lynn.
Whatever domain you bought. So if your domain has .com in it, you should put .com.
Okay.
If you bought, you know, if I bought maxmatthews.com, I'd put maxmatthews.com. If I bought maxmatthews.net, I would just put maxmatthews.net.
That's probably why it wasn't working when I was trying to do it on my mobile device.
Yes.
Because I was it's all clicking now.
Yeah, so there's no way that GitHub knows about our domain or vice versa. So what this step is doing is it's just giving GitHub a heads up. Hey, I'm going to send traffic your way. But GitHub doesn't talk to Namecheap yet. Namecheap's like, I own that domain. I'm not going to send anyone anywhere until you tell me where to send them. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit save there. And then what we are going to do is we're going to open a new tab and we're going to go back to Namecheap. And when we get to Namecheap, we're going to go to account up at the top and drop down to dashboard. And you should see probably only one domain in your Namecheap list. Go ahead and click on, you should have a manage button. Go ahead and click on manage. So what you should get to is a screen that looks like this. Everyone make it that far?
I didn't yet. I have to verify my contacts, I think.
Okay. If you have to do that with Namecheap, go ahead and do that. It will probably send you an email and you have to click on a link.
Correct. That is exactly what they're doing.
Oh,
Max, did you click on something after domain list once you were on that screen?
I went to account, I went to domain list, and then I clicked on the manage button here.
Oh, I see it. Okay, thank you.
I'll give everyone a second to catch up.
Okay.
I don't have a manage button.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't have a manage button even after verifying.
What do you have over here?
Nothing.
Not exactly nothing. It said the verify
So
contact.
I didn't have the manage
contact.
I didn't have the manage button either, but the little house, if you click on it, then there was a drop down list and there was manage on the drop down list. If you saw the little house.
Okay, manage. So we're enabling device authentication app, and then text message authentication. Or is that something completely different?
I actually clicked on the button that says verify, that little drop down arrow, and underneath that is a manage button. And it took me to the same screen you just had up.
Yeah, I clicked on manage and then it brought me to the two-factor authentication page.
Is it forcing you to turn that on? Or can you skip that step?
I can't skip it.
It might be making them turn it on. I had to put a verification code from my email when I logged back into Namecheap. And
Yeah, I had to log in too. And where's the manage button?
So go ahead and share your screen, Carolyn.
Okay.
Okay, so click on click on the arrow to the right of verify contacts. Stop scrolling. The arrow to the right of verify contacts. Okay, and then click on manage. Okay, this is the screen that you should be on. So if you've made it this far, you're good to go. Does anyone else need help? Okay. So what we are going to do is share my screen again. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we're going to click on Advanced DNS up at the top. And then we're going to come down here, and this is where we start getting into our DNS. So I'm actually going to delete these out.
Wait, I'm sorry. What platform are you on right now? Is that in VS Code?
Am I sharing the right screen? I may not be sharing the right screen.
You weren't.
It's also too small to see.
Okay,
That's good enough.
I'm in Namecheap, and I'm going to click on Advanced DNS up at the top. When I scroll down here, I'm going to have some host records in here. If there's a little delete icon on the right, go ahead and delete those out, all of them. So it may look something like oh, come on. So you may have a couple records in here and have this delete icon over on the right. If you do, go ahead and delete out all of them. We're clearing out the defaults, and now we're telling Namecheap we're getting ready to link you to GitHub. So what you should eventually have is something that says no records found. Okay, from there, we're going to click on Add New Record. Now, there are all different kinds of DNS records. We want a CNAME record. That CNAME record is basically saying, hey, whenever someone goes to my site, kind of redirect them over to this other site that I'm about to tell you. So we're going to do a CNET record. And in the host field, we're going to type in a little @ sign. And that @ just means we're doing it at the root. So whenever I go to mydomain.com, it's going to look for that @ sign. It's kind of a special character. And then in the target, I'm going to type in my GitHub username .github.io. And then I'm going to hit the little check mark. And then I'm going to rinse and repeat. So I'm going to add a new record. I'm going to do another CNAME record, but this time www is something that you think just magically works on the internet. It turns out www is just a subdomain that works like any other subdomain. So what we want to do for anyone who still types in GitHub www, we want to also point www over to GitHub, my username.github.io. So I'm going to hit the little check mark. All right, I am all set. So now comes the fun of DNS propagation. So the way this works is Namecheap now knows, hey, this is where I should send people. Whenever someone goes to my domain, send them over to maxmatthews.github.io. The problem is that whenever you go to your website, it is going to your website, and instead of going all the way up to Namecheap, which would be incredibly load intensive on Namecheap, Namecheap instead sends out your DNS changes to all of these internet service providers. So whether you have Spectrum or Fios or whoever it is, we are waiting on Namecheap and Fios to talk to each other and go, hey, by the way, there's this new domain name out there. This is where they want you to send people. So if you are lucky, you should be able to go to your URL and it should load your GitHub pages. If you are not lucky, that is fine. You may not have done anything wrong, and we're just waiting for DNS propagation. Susan, I've got a smile out of you, which means I'm not a horrible teacher, and we got one student across the finish line.
I think I'm still waiting. Ever since I started updating my DNS and everything on Namecheap, my web page doesn't look the same. Like with all the code that we just put in, it just is the generic Namecheap domain was bought page.
Okay, so that's the DNS propagation going through. You want to make sure that you've got all of those other records cleared out, and you only have 2 CNAME records here.
Mhm.
2, you want to make sure that you have a little delete icon. Don't click on it, but make sure it's not a check mark. You may have to hit the check mark to get it to save. 3, you want to make sure that you have your host with the @ sign and another host with www, and both of them point to your username.github.io, not .com, .github.io. And then a little trick that you can try is if you try opening an incognito window and then going to your domain, you may be able to get it to load that way as well. Over time, your regular Chrome window will also load, but you may just have to wait for that DNS propagation, which can take up to 24 hours.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Max, should it say that your connection is not private and then warn you about doing something?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to, after about 24 hours, when we go back to GitHub, if I refresh here, you see this enforce HTTPS, which is under that GitHub Pages section. That's grayed out right now. But if you read, it doesn't say it there. It takes 24 hours for GitHub to realize, hey, your DNS is updated and we can set up a security connection now. So in 24 hours, if you come back into this page, this checkbox won't be grayed out. You'll be able to check it and you may have to hit save, and that will get HTTPS working for you. Okay, we've made it to the end. Yes, you've actually made it to the finish line. And save the last 15 minutes for the end. I am going to create a homework assignment. The homework assignment in Google Classroom is going to just be paste in your URL and have that page be accessible. So I'm going to go create that and then open up the floor for questions. If anyone wants to screen share, if anyone's stuck at a certain point, we can go through that now. If you have gotten your website online, feel free to share it in the chat or throw up a little party reaction.
Can we go in there and start personalizing that? Like,
go for it.
Oh, okay. And then are we not doing the email today? Are we going to do that another day?
I will either make a separate video. Actually, I already have a video for that created. So what I am going to do is find where that timestamp is, and I will share that with you guys.
Great.
And then if you have questions about that and there aren't any catching up questions during office hours, I can go over that as well.
Max, you broke my website. It was working and now it's not.
Okay, so go to your, go make sure it's still working at your username.github.io.
Okay.
Right, so let's go to the source and start debugging from there.
Max, I'm gonna do a breakout room with Corey really quick. I think he
Sure.
finally got stuck. So I'm gonna hop on with that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's just broken now. It just doesn't work. It says not secure. It redirected to the domain that I bought was my name. It's alinawin.com. It redirected there and it says not secure and the page is just white.
Interesting. Can you copy and paste your GitHub repository link to me?
Yeah.
Or you can also share your screen. That works as well. So like github.com/your username/your username.github.io.
Oh, okay.
Office hours are going to be tomorrow at 6:30. In order, because I am out on Saturday and Sunday is Easter. So we're doing office hours 6:30 tomorrow night. If you have questions and cannot attend, feel free to direct message them to me. I will answer them in YouTube and share the link. And that is the exact link I needed, Alina. Thank you. So the good news is it is a DNS propagation issue, because if I share my screen and I open an incognito window, the keyboard shortcut for that in Chrome is Command-Shift-N, by the way. But if I paste in your github.io URL, I get your page fine.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And if you look, the URL is actually redirected over to your .com. So in the next 24 hours, that should just magically start working. The other thing you can test is on your phone, turn Wi-Fi off and then try and load it, because the DNS servers for your cell phone provider are a different DNS server than is used for your Wi-Fi internet service provider. So you can try and load the page on both cellular or on Wi-Fi and see if either of those work. But it is incredibly frustrating, because you're like, did I DNS it right? Did I get the settings in right? You know, you start
let me
panicking.
ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, we're new and we're not even like developers or anything like that. But for you, like, if you were to deploy a website while you were working and this issue were to occur, would you just tell your client like, hey, you have to wait 24 hours or?
Yes. And normally what I do is I will get that set up a day in advance and say, hey, before we go live, I'm going to change over your DNS. But normally clients are all right with saying like, hey, as long as you warn them in the beginning, right? The follow-up of, hey, my website's broken. And then you go, oh, it will just take 24 hours. That's less than ideal. But whenever I have a new client, I go, hey, we're going to go live with your website today, but it may take up to 24 hours so that everyone's device can access it. That's normally not a problem for them, because then they just go, oh, I won't post that link on social media then for 24 hours, or, oh, well, I have to update my business cards anyway with a new link, or, oh, well, the old website will keep working until people get switched over to the new one. Or, you know, there are lots of different ways of just saying like, this is a process that takes time. And the phrase that I normally use is, it is your website is in the process of rolling out to the entire internet. And that the first time you do that, that takes 24 hours. Anything after that, we can make those updates really quickly.
Now I have another question. So because we bought it on namecheap.com, does it make a difference versus like if we were to use like a Google domain or another domain website, buying website? Do they all take 24 hours usually, typically?
It's not actually the delay on Namecheap or Google domain side. It tends to be the delay on your internet service provider side.
Oh, okay.
And so there are actually ways that you can change your DNS settings on your computer or on your phone and say, don't use my ISP's DNS because it's crappy and slow. Use Google or OpenDNS or Cloudflare's DNS, at which point you can get that propagation to happen much faster because they're much better DNS servers.
Got it. Okay.
That may get a little advanced, but basically what you're saying to your computer is, instead of going to my ISP's DNS servers and figuring out who maxmatthews.com is, instead go to Google directly and ask Google who maxmatthews.com is. And that can speed up the process.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
But yes, at this point, it's just a matter of waiting. Susan is proof that you can make it to the finish line and you can get your site online. Susan, I would encourage you to share your whatever domain that you just bought. And so we can celebrate in getting sites online. And it is entirely possible, by the way, that Susan's ISP has updated and her site is working for her, but it is not working for you when you open the page. And if you open incognito, that is a good way to shake loose the browser and make sure the browser isn't caching anything either. Okay, I know that was fast. I know that was bumpy. I know everything is recorded on YouTube and you can go back and curse out my name while you try and catch up. But I will be here for at least the next 7 minutes if anyone has questions. Incognito, you can go up to File up at the top and drop down a new incognito window, or the keyboard shortcut is Command-Shift-N.
Where was the HTTP with the S, the secure HTTP?
Yes. If you go back to GitHub Pages, go back to github.com and go into your settings and scroll all the way down to GitHub Pages where we typed in the custom domain.
Oh, is it on the side?
Hold on, let me share. So
account settings, just
if I'm back here, I need to get into my repository. So I'm gonna either go, if you see your username.github.io, you can click on it there. If you don't see it there, you can click and find repository and start typing in your username.github and it should pop up there.
Are you within settings still?
No, I'm on the GitHub home screen.
Oh.
So if you just click on the logo on the top left, it should take you back out there, and then click on your repository if it shows up.
Yeah.
And then go to settings in the center.
I see it.
And now you're going to scroll almost all the way down to the bottom, and down here where you typed in your custom domain.
Oh, I see. Yep. Enforce.
You also have enforce, and that will be available in roughly 24 hours. And if it's not, you can yell at me during office hours.
Well, can I try to click it now and see what happens?
If it's not grayed out, if it lets you click it, then that should work.
It's not grayed out, but it doesn't let me click. So
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so only 2 homework assignments from me for this week. Both of them are in Google Classroom under assignment 6 and 7. Assignment 6, you are going to submit that new site that you got up and running, hopefully, or working on this weekend. Go ahead and submit your HTML and CSS files in there for your Google assignment. The other assignment is just to submit your domain name. So once you get your site up and running and you can see it in your browser, just go into Google Classroom, type in whatever your domain name is and submit that as the assignment. And we'll go through and check in and make sure that people made it there. Again, if you're
screenshots or anything?
No screenshots for either assignment. For assignment 6, which is the new site, you're going to submit the HTML and CSS files. For assignment 7, you're just going to submit your domain name. What we're going to do is we're going to open the domain names and make sure the site shows up there, and then you'll be all set. So you've got both of those assignments in there. They are due Sunday at 11:59. We will get feedback to you on those assignments sometime by next week. What you will also see, and bear with us because it's the first time we're doing the feedback in Google Classroom, but I will go through student by student and give you a score of either a 1, 2, or 3. 1 is below expectations, a 2 is meeting expectations, and a 3 is rock star. If you get a 2, you are doing everything right. You do not need to aspire to rock star. That does not mean that you did not get an A. A 2 means you're on par. we're saving a 3 for like, hey, we noticed you did a really good job this week. We're just calling attention to you. You will also see, depending on the instructor, we may leave some notes in there of things you may be able to improve on, or things that we're calling you out for doing particularly well. I am going to try and do that for all the students beginning early next week. And I am going to be using your assignments as a good touch base on that as well, to kind of get a gauge at where you guys are all at. So anyway, due Sunday, 11:59 p.m. Those are the 2 assignments, and then office hours tomorrow at 6:30. They are totally optional. If you cannot attend, shoot me messages and I will answer them and send you guys the YouTube video.
Is it the same Zoom URL? Are you going to send out a new invitation? Or
Same Zoom URL. I won't send out an invite just because you guys already have enough emails, but it will be in the same exact link.
Great, thank you.
Alina, question.
Whoever was talking can go ahead. I just had a question about our capstones.
That was my question too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. We're on the same. We're always, I think, on the same step. Yeah. So my question about my capstone is, Jesse wants them submitted by the 4th, but is there anybody that we can talk to for like insight on it? I haven't actually had the chance to speak to either Laura or Jason about anything yet, because I did set up meetings with both of them, but they're not until later on in the month.
Yeah. So the submission on Friday, we're not like locking you into. It's not like you have to run with it. It's just kind of a brainstorming activity. So the first capstone check-in, which I believe is next Thursday, that will kind of be like, this is what we're thinking of, and like just reading off your form. And then we'll give you feedback at that point. I can also look into getting you feedback before that class. Just like I'll shoot you an email or get you feedback based off of your form submission. And then I will also nail down, I'm hesitant to send out my Calendly link because I'm off next week, and that doesn't solve the problem.
Don't send it out until after then.
Yeah.
But I guess my main question was just, I didn't want to be stuck with submitting a capstone idea without having to speak to anybody before, and then getting stuck with it later on during the program, and
not getting stuck
your
with
capstone idea sucks, but you still have to roll with it. But that was my question.
Definitely not stuck, definitely not locking in. It's just an opportunity for us to kind of pull your ideas all in together, so we can have something we're looking at when everyone's presenting, to get an idea, just to have it in written form, which is often the hardest way to get your ideas out, right? Like, you have the ideas, but putting the pen to the paper is what kind of solidifies them. With that said, if you're like, this is a terrible idea and I want to change my capstone, that's completely fine. Down the road, and just submit another form with what you would like your new capstone idea to be, and roll with that.
Okay.
So the capstone presentation on Thursday, it's not like you need to have slides. You can just kind of brain babble or brain dump what you're thinking, and get feedback there. With that said, I will review those form submissions, and probably reach out to you guys with feedback before Thursday.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Other questions? You guys can head out if you want. I'm not covering anything else. I can stick around here for the next couple minutes, see if anyone has questions or gets stuck anywhere. Otherwise, I will head out myself.
Thanks, Max, and everybody. I really enjoyed today's class. I felt like that practice was just really good. So
Good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Latonia. I feel like tonight's well, this week I just feel like everything has been clicking, and I'm starting to like fully get the hang of things, because I was completely new to coding. Like I did part-time social media management for the doctor's office that I worked for, but this was like nothing like I'm doing now. I used Canva a lot, and I just made like a bunch of, I don't know, pictures or whatever, or like social media posts. So I used Canva a lot. So this is like a whole new experience for me. And I was rocky at first with like the HTML and CSS and everything, but I just want to say, like, after practicing so many times and actually going out and finding like my own resources and rewatching the YouTube videos, everything is starting to click, and I'm actually feeling a lot more confident with it. So if anybody else is like struggling, I suggest you guys do the same, because it really is like a great field to go into for all of us. So I hope that we can all graduate together.
And I'm going to tailgate on that, ditto what Lena said. I don't know what we did in the day when you went to the lecture and then you left and that was it. There was like no video you could go back and look at or review. It's so useful. And Max, I don't know if you saw in the chat, but thank you for all of what you had to put up with techie stuff tonight and questions from me. And I feel your pain, but you got through it, and you're a rock star, and thank you.
It's not frustration at any of you guys. It is you know, that and professionally that happens. You're using a tool and the tool just doesn't work, and you're like, I gotta switch here, right? Like you gotta jump track sometimes. And so that is, even in day-to-day work, even when you're not a junior developer, you know, there are times that you get curveballs and you just got to change it up. So I apologize for when you go back in and rewatch the video and you go, oh, well, that was a wasted 20 minutes. But, you know, we got through it. You got your site live. And that's what we want to celebrate and focus on. And if you haven't, we will get you there, right? We will get you across that finish line. And when you get to the end of the program, you'll go back to this and go, oh, look at this quaint little website that Max had us publish, and start getting into setting it up and doing everything from there. I'm going to give anyone else a chance to ask questions. Otherwise, Karen, we can jump back on a screen share and get you through that. Otherwise, see you guys. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get your Git repository, your classroom repository, all set up as well. And so that's the problem that we ran into, is we didn't have we have your repository all set up and the place to put the files.
Right.
But we don't have the classroom in a spot where we can easily pull it. So what we're going to do is go click in GitHub Desktop.
In here.
Yep. And then go up to File up at the top.
Okay, up here.
And drop down to new Clone Repository. And then I am going to go ahead and click on URL. And then I am going to I'm going to copy and paste your URL. Give me 1 second.
All righty.
Is Slack or Zoom a better place?
Slack. I already have it open, and Zoom, I can't really see it sometimes.
No problem. Okay, so if you hop over to Slack and then scroll down on that left sidebar. Yep, go all the way down there, and you you should find a message from me. So go ahead and copy that URL.
I can right click. I can right click on this and copy it, right?
You should be able to, yep. And then copy link. Okay, and then we're going to go back to GitHub Desktop.
Okay.
And we're going to click in the URL in this field.
Oh, okay.
And paste that in there. Okay, and then we want to figure out where we want this to go. So do you want this to be on your desktop? Do you want it to be in your CIC folder? Where do you want it to go?
Is the CIC folder the best place for it?
Probably, yeah. So
yeah, because see, as far as all this folder and files, if you can tell, I get really confused when it comes to those things. So wherever, yeah, I think if I can put them all in one place, that's great for me.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Finder.
Okay.
In the bottom left.
Oh. All right, down here.
And then we're gonna go to your desktop and open up CIC. And then we're gonna delete that careers and code base folder. Just
Okay.
because that isn't linked. So go ahead and hit move to trash there. And then you're gonna close that out again. Okay, and then you are going to click choose here. And then click clone. Okay, and so now you've got those files copied. So we're gonna go back into Finder. We're going to go to your desktop. We're going to open CIC. We're going to open up the code base folder. And then we're going to start diving. So we're going to go cohort 2, module 2, week 2, day 4. And we're going to hit Command A. And we're going to hit Command C. And then we are going to go back to your desktop again. And now we're going to put them in your repository. So we're going to go open up CIC. We're going to open up the karenbaxter.github.io. And we're going to hit Command V. Okay, so now you just copied all those files in there. So now we're going to go back over to GitHub. GitHub, yep, there you go. And click on current repository up at the top. And then we're going to switch that to karenbaxter.github.io. Okay, now in this summary, we're going to type in first commit. Okay, and then go ahead and hit commit to main.
Oh, okay. Commit to main. All right.
And then click on publish. And then click on, uncheck keep code private. And then click publish. And just like that, you've got your website on the internet. So if you go over to Chrome.
Okay, Chrome.
And then go up to the URL and type in karenbaxter.github.io.
.io.
And hit enter.
Enter.
Oh, that's not what we wanted to see. Okay. Open a new tab and go to github.com. Okay, and just grab, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Okay, and we're gonna click on okay, so here's the problem. Your username isn't karenbaxter.github.io. Your username is Legatus KA1.
Okay. All right. So yeah, because right there, I wasn't really sure whether I like use like a screen name or what.
Right.
So do we
And
like
so
change it?
we can't change it. We have to go through all those steps that we just did before, where we have to delete the repository and set
Oh.
everything up again.
Oh fuck. Excuse me, my French. Wow. Okay.
So I don't know if you want to go through the video and try that on your own, or I can take control of your screen and try and get it cleaned up quickly if you want to do that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
We're gonna go fast.
Hey,
go ahead and hit.
I'm still watching, but yeah, it's a lot faster for you. And then I want you to go and enjoy your weekend because you are such an awesome teacher. You deserve it.
All right, go ahead and hit allow on grant access to remote control.
Approve.
Okay.
There you go.
So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go to settings. We are going to drop down to delete. We're going to delete it. We're going to copy and paste this in. I know I'm talking fast and I know it may be too fast, but the good news is this is all still on the video. So
right.
if you want to go back in and see kind of what I've done, you can.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Go to your desktop. I'm going to go to CIC. I'm going to delete this folder.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to GitHub Desktop. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to go File, New Repository. And now your user, we're going to make sure that we use your username.github.io.
Okay.
So we're going to hit Create Repository. We're going to go back into Finder. We're going to go into the code base, cohort 2, module 2, week 2, day 4. I'm going to copy these files, go back to your desktop, go back to CIC, go back to GitHub, and paste those files. Then I'm going to come back into GitHub Desktop, commit them as first commit. I'm going to commit. I'm going to publish, and I'm going to uncheck keep private, and I'm going to hit publish. And I'm going to wait for that to go through. And then when I go into Chrome, I'm going to go to GitHub just to grab your username again. I'm going to grab your URL here, and I'm going to open it in a new tab. And it's still not there. Okay, let's give it a second and see if it's just taking a little while to process.
And this is not the same as the what we created tonight was a website actually, right?
Correct.
Okay. I see these usernames. I try to keep them all the same. I can't have too many different different names. I end up with a whole lot of different folders. I don't know what they are.
Okay. And so I'm going to open a new incognito window because I think it's just processing. So if I go to that, all right, so there's your site. Now it has my name on it. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do one more step to get you caught up. And then you should be able to rewatch the video from there. So I'm going to go into VS Code. I'm going to file open, and I'm going to open up your desktop, your CIC, and your github.io. So we have your...
You just saved the files there, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So when I open up my index, I can type in your name. And I can type in your name up in the title as well. And then when I save that file, I can go back to GitHub Desktop and it's saying, look, here are the two things that you changed. I know that file got changed in VS Code. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say update name, and I'm going to commit it. Now that commit just saved it into the repository on your computer. So in addition to getting it into the repository on your computer, we want to push that up to GitHub. And so when we push it, that's what's sending it up to the cloud and up to that web server. So now if we go back into your Google Chrome and we go to your web URL, it hasn't updated yet, but we're just going to give it a second. I'm going to refresh here in GitHub, and you see it does say update name. And if I click into your file, we can see that it's updated. So sometimes it just takes a minute for your page to update when it's in the repository.
Okay.
So I'm being very impatient, but it should. Just checking in GitHub Pages. Everything looks right there. And there you are.
All right. Okay. Now, one day I'm going to be able to do that myself.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So now all we have to do is do the assignment for tonight that you just did on the video.
Yeah. And that assignment you already have done now. So all you have to do is submit your domain name over in Google Classroom and you're all set.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right, Max. Thank you.
No
like
problem.
I said, it's been an awesome week, and you are, oh my God, you are amazing. I want to be like you when I grow up.
You'll get there.
Yeah. You are the bomb, man. I'm telling you. I'm so amazed sometimes, but all right, love, you enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you next week.
Thank you. See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Jahir, you have a question? Hello, Jahir. You still here?